Boy Things in the entertainment block on Nationwide 90 FM.
Stop putting off those plumbing projects. Start right. Start here at H&L Rapid True Value for plumbing supplies. The time by H&L Rapid True Value is
Nationwide time, 5 o'clock.
News at 5 teasers are brought to you by Advanced Scales and Equipment. Service is our total commitment.
From the Nationwide News Network, comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Cliff Hughes.
And I'm Robianne Williams.
In Nationwide News at this hour, thousands of corporate area residents continue to be affected by smoke nuisance from the latest Riverton City dump fire.
And the fire chief says the windy conditions are hampering the efforts to reduce the smoke nuisance.
Deputy Mayor Delroy Williams welcomes plans to audit the KSAMC, but describes the move as a distraction.
We welcome the audit. As a matter of fact, we will follow up to ensure that the audit is done. It will not be used as a distraction.
MPs and municipal corporations should be able to mobilize drought financial support for their constituents by the end of the week.
We will write to members of parliament today outlining how bills are to be submitted. That would allow them to mobilize, I'd expect, as early as tomorrow.
The public is expected to know the fate of the embattled NWC president, Mark Barnett, soon.
In news from the rest of the world, Venezuela's ex-oil minister has been arrested and accused of corruption.
Hamas leader says 3 of his sons have been killed in an Israeli airstrike in Gaza.
In headline sports, a global sports goods manufacturer is proposing to pump nearly $6 billion Jamaican dollars into local track and field.
And later on our broadcast, in our cover story at 5:35, work crews, firefighters are this hour still trying to contain the smoke nuisance caused by the latest fire at the Riverton City dump in St. Andrew. Executive Director of the National Solid Waste Management Authority, Audley Gordon, and Commissioner of the Fire Brigade, Stuart Beckford, will give us an update.
In public opinion at 6:26, we ask, have you been affected by the ongoing drought and how are you coping? Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio and message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693. You can also leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide 90 FM.
In the nation's business at 6:40, Nationwide 90 FM's exclusive rights to cover this summer's Olympics in Paris. The media launch was held this afternoon at Usain Bolt's Tracks and Records. You'll hear what happened.
And at 8, it's Boyatings After Dark with Kareem Boyatings Weathers.
All these and more as we take you home on air on your mobile, Nationwide 90 FM, Nationwide Radio, jm.com, and on the Nationwide app available on Google Play and the App Store. This Wednesday afternoon, it's Wednesday, April 10, 2024.
News at 5 teasers were brought to you by Advanced Scales and Equipment. Service is our total commitment.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
Thousands of Jamaicans across the corporate area are still being affected by the blanket of smoke coming from the latest fire at the Riverton City dump in Western St. Andrew. The fire started on Tuesday morning, and almost 24 hours later it is still blazing in parts. Commissioner of the Jamaica Fire Brigade, Stuart Beckford, provided an update on the efforts to put out the fire a short while ago.
There is a section of the dump that is burning. We are trying to extinguish using a combination of factors. So we have 25 trucks hired by the NSWMA to carry materials onto the site. And once these materials are tipped off by these trucks, they have a D9 truck that is using that material to cover the area that is currently on fire. And so we will wet the cover in order to prevent reignition and so on. So steady progress, but persons will continue to experience some level of smoke in the general area, and depending on the strength of the wind, it may take that smoke some distance away from the actual landfill.
Mr. Beckford says efforts to reduce the smoke nuisance blanketing the city are being hampered by persistent winds.
We had 3 fire units on location, plus a water tender, like a water tanker, battling the blaze. We also got support from the Jamaica Defence Force Air Wing up until about 2:35, 2:40. When they took a break to refuel, we would have done 30 drops of water using their Bambi bucket system. The issue that we are experiencing there is due mainly to the weather condition that is prevailing there. There's a strong wind in and around that area, and the problem is that it keeps changing direction, so it makes it difficult for our firefighters to really plan and plan effectively to tackle the blaze.
Stuart Beckford, Commissioner of the Jamaica Fire Brigade.
Meanwhile, Executive Director of the National Solid Waste Management Authority, NSWMA, Audley Gordon, says the smoke nuisance from the blaze at the Riverton City dump should be contained within the next 8 hours.
At this hour, we continue to spread and compact the area affected around the outside belt of the landfill where the fire started yesterday. The good thing is the wind is blowing to the hill now, so we can attack it even more. Today, it was tough to work in the situation with the wind. We will go deep into the night, and we hope that we will see a significant reduction in the smoke by then. In terms of where we are now compared to this morning, I would say we have 50% less smoke. At this time, I believe we should be able to wrap up smoke nuisance in another 8 hours maybe.
Audley Gordon, Executive Director of the NSWMA.
And the newly appointed Chief Executive Officer of the National Environment and Planning Agency, NEPA, Leonard Francis, says a framework is being developed to better assess and prevent fires from occurring at the Riverton City dump in St. Andrew and other hot spots across the country. This amid ongoing efforts to contain the fire affecting the dump.
We are, as part of our long-term plans, looking on ways in which we can ensure that we do not have a continuous situation like this. What we have instructed the GIS unit to do is that they should now identify all the hotspots within the country. They'll be gathering data on the various type of incidents. We'll be looking on the time of day, the time of year, and the periods where these incidents actually occur. There are certain aspects that were developed. So what we are actually doing now is putting everything in what we call an interactive GIS platform that will allow us to be more predictive and proactive.
Leonard Francis. Tuesday's fire at the Riverton dump is the latest in a string of repeated fires spanning more than 2 decades. The National Solid Waste Management Authority is responsible for operations at the dump. When pressed about the breaches of the environmental permit, Mr. Francis says his team has been in dialogue with the NSWMA to address the issue.
If tomorrow we do serve them a notice and suspend the permit or otherwise, what do you think would happen? All of us, every day, we are generating waste. So the reality, the waste has to go somewhere. And we will be working with the National Solid Waste Management Authority to separate waste, encourage recycling, and that's where we are going. We have the blueprint. There are several plans that are there. One of it is actually looking on converting some aspects of the area and looking on waste to energy proposals there, actually reducing the size of the landfill itself, and there are various other programs in terms of enforcement.
Leonard Francis, CEO of NEPA, he was speaking on Nationwide at 5 on Tuesday.
Deputy Mayor of Kingston, Delroy Williams, says he's welcoming the call for an audit of the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, KSAMC, but describes the move as a distraction by the now PNP-led corporation. He's reacting to claims that more than $80 million were overspent on salaries during his administration. Shalois Michael reports.
The claims about overspending on salaries were made by Chairman of the KSAMC's Finance Committee, Dennis Gordon. Gordon, who is also PNP Councillor for the Maxfield Park Division, has indicated plans to invite the Auditor General's Department to inspect the operations of the KSAMC before the PNP took control following the February 26 local government elections. He says the request will be made at the next meeting of the Finance Committee, set for April 25. The JLP Deputy Mayor says he welcomes the audit. but he is describing it as an attempt by the PNP-led KCMC to distract from the concerns he raised about the removal of councillors from committees.
We welcome the audit. As a matter of fact, we are used to audits. We have been audited many times by the Ministry of Local Government and the Auditor General. So we are used to audits. As a matter of fact, we will follow up to ensure that the audit is done and shared. It will not be used as a distraction from the very critical issues raised in my letter to the mayor. It is no coincidence that only hours after the letter was made public and political affiliates online started suggesting an audit, that this statement was made by Mr. Gordon.
At Tuesday's sitting of the corporation, membership of the Finance, Roads and Traffic, Public Health and Civic and International committees were restructured, removing all elected councillors. Mr. Williams says the decision by Mayor Andrew Swaby to remove all the current councillors from the KCMC's all council committees is a political move. In a letter to the mayor on Tuesday, Mr. Williams stated that the move is a retrograde step that will divide the membership of the committee.
The audit should be done so we can move forward with addressing the issues of politicizing our committees. The issues of politicizing our committees and removing elected representatives from these critical committees without any proper reason being put forward. No other reason but to create a political advantage. This is not in keeping with the spirit of collaboration expressed in the vote, in the will of the people on February 26th. Not in keeping with collaboration, bipartisanship, transparency, and accountability.
He believes that the move is an assault on Jamaica's democracy.
This, as a matter of fact, is an attack on our rich democratic tradition. It's an attack on the principles established in participatory democracy. So we welcome audit. We are not afraid of audit. It was through an audit that we found out that the KCMC was used to place ads for other municipalities, ads valuing millions of dollars for other municipalities during a campaign period.
Shaloy Smichael for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, Deputy Mayor Williams is calling on the chairman of the KSAMC's Finance Committee, Dennis Gordon, to withdraw a statement labelling the municipal police as untrained JLP activists. Mr. Gordon was quoted in a newspaper article today. Mr. Williams says members of the municipal police were trained by the Jamaica Defence Force, JDF, and enrolled through the Jamaica National Service Corps. He says in May 2017, the National Service Corps, JNC, became the standard mode of enlistment for persons joining the JDF to serve as full-time soldiers. The Deputy Mayor says it's extremely reckless and slanderous that these statements were made and published. He says in 2017 he made his intention clear to the council to enroll more officers in the municipal police force. Mr. Williams says letters were written to the Minister of National Security and the Commissioner of Police to offer support in the expansion, training and upskilling of municipal officers. The Deputy Mayor says councillors are superior to the municipal police, and he finds a statement by Mr. Gordon labelling the officers as untrained and political activists to be extremely incendiary and slanderous. He says putting the safety and professional reputation of the municipal officers at risk for a political witch hunt is extremely unprofessional. He's urging Mr. Gordon to withdraw the statement. You're listening to Nationwide News at 5. More news after these.
Value Drug Pharmacy offers curbside pickup and delivery of your branded and generic drugs. WhatsApp your prescription to 876-881-6695. The time by Value Drug Pharmacy is
14 minutes after 5.
Rent-to-Kill Initial offers air purification solutions with triple filtration and unique auto-sensing capabilities that neutralizes malodor and replaces it with clean air. Call Rent-to-Kill Initial at 926-4236 for more details.
The temperature by Rent-to-Kill is
31 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 29 out west in Montego Bay. Continuing the news, Minister with responsibility for water, Senator Matthew Samuda, says members of parliament and municipal corporations should be able to mobilize drought support for their constituents by the end of this week. This comes after Prime Minister Andrew Holness announced that an additional $150 million would be allocated towards drought mitigation efforts. Mahiri Stewart reports.
Speaking at Wednesday's post-cabinet media briefing at the office of the Prime Minister, Minister Samuda says the government is financially prepared for a possible lengthy drought this year. He says through proper management and distribution of funds, the government is in a position to react accordingly.
But yes, the government is prepared for all eventualities. That is why sound fiscal management is important, because you have allocations at NWC in excess of $450 million, and we have allocations at the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation and at the Ministry of Local Government for trucking right across the year. We also have a significant contingency fund as a government at the Ministry of Finance that we can pull on in times of challenge.
Minister Samuda says meetings are to be held with the country's Drought Management Committee as early as this week.
There is $450 million for trucking at the National Water Commission. There is in excess of 100 million, I believe it is 102 or something like that at Ministry of Local Government. There is also, as is published in the big yellow budget book, a contingency budget at the Ministry of Finance for emergencies and eventualities such as this. So we are prepared to deal with it. We also continue to coordinate with other government agencies. I expect to bring the Drought Management Committee together for weekly meetings starting this week as we go forward and monitor the situation.
And Minister Samuda says the $150 million emergency drought support allocation should be mobilized by the end of this week. The program will target the 50 constituencies assessed as most heavily affected.
I expect that we will write to members of parliament today outlining how bills are to be submitted. That would allow them to mobilize, I'd expect, as early as tomorrow. As it relates to transfers to the municipalities, we will write to them today, and I would expect that before the end of the week they're in the field.
Mahiri Stewart for Nationwide News.
100-meter hurdle Olympics bronze medalist Megan Tapper has credited Jamaican media for garnering local interest and excitement in each staging of the Olympic Games. Ms. Tapper was speaking at the launch of Nationwide 90 FM's coverage of the 2024 Paris Olympic Games held at Usain Bolt's Tracks and Records in St. Andrew this afternoon. Nationwide 90 FM has the exclusive radio rights to cover the Olympics in Paris. Ms. Tapper says Nationwide 90 FM has her utmost trust in continuing the trend of bringing more eyes and ears to witness Jamaica's athletes compete on the grandest of stages.
Because at home, you're with your family, you're experiencing the excitement and the love and just the sheer joy of seeing Jamaicans compete on the track and do well. But mark my words, this is attributed to how seriously the Jamaican media takes their role to transmit, and in Jamaica's case, create excitement for Jamaicans. I am putting my trust in Nationwide to continue facilitating this rich experience. After all, the team at NNN is known as the Revolution in Media.
Megan Tapper, the Olympics 100-meter hurdles bronze medalist, and president of the Jamaica Olympic Association, Christopher Samuda, says this year's staging of the Games will allow Jamaica to continue spreading its Olympic culture with the rest of the world.
Paris will once again become the melting pot, a Dutch pot of sporting cultures. And the Jamaica Olympic Association will be in the vanguard, Cliff, in internationalizing Jamaica's Olympic culture in volcanic eruptions in Paris. One on August 6, Independence Day, and one on August 7, the Jamaica Olympic Association Day. As we partner with our colleagues and partner with our partner, Puma International, in glorious celebrations in one yard, our Olympic Manor and their Puma House.
Christopher Samuda, the president of the Jamaica Olympic Association.
Meanwhile, CEO of Nationwide News Network, Cliff Hughes, has described the deal as a historic moment for radio broadcasting in Jamaica.
This is indeed, as George has said, a historic moment for Nationwide 90 FM. It's also historic for radio broadcasting in Jamaica. It's the first time a radio station is being given the privilege, the honor, the responsibility, the duty to deliver first-class coverage of the Olympics on radio in Jamaica. It was usually the preserve of the television stations. Now we're going to go one better.
Cliff Hughes, CEO of Nationwide News Network, Mr. Hughes, was speaking Wednesday at the launch of the Nationwide 90 FM's coverage of the 2024 Paris Olympic Games held at Usain Bolt's Tracks and Records in St. Andrew.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose Assembly and Supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
Charles O'Connor Consulting Limited, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
The World in a Minute.
More than a year after he resigned from his post as Venezuela's oil minister, Tarek Aissami has been arrested following accusations of corruption. El Aissami is accused of stealing from Venezuela's state oil company. Once a powerful ally of President Nicolas Maduro, the former oil minister has not been seen in public since his resignation in March 2023. On Tuesday, the Attorney General Tarek Saab shared photos showing the ex-minister being led away in handcuffs. A former economy minister and a businessman who had close ties to the Maduro government have also been detained. Mr. Saab, who is an ally of President Maduro, announced the arrests in a news conference on Tuesday, but did not say when they had been carried out. There had been much speculation about El Aissami's whereabouts after the influential politician completely disappeared from public view last year.
The Israel Defense Force IDF has confirmed that its aircraft killed 3 sons of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh. 3 of the leader's grandchildren have also reportedly been killed. A vehicle carrying the family members of Haniyeh, who's the head of Hamas's political bureau, was reportedly targeted northwest of Gaza City. The IDF described the brothers as Hamas military operatives. Haniyeh says his sons' deaths will not affect the militant group's demands in ongoing ceasefire negotiations. Meanwhile, Hamas has indicated it's currently unable to identify and track down 40 Israeli hostages needed for the first phase of the ceasefire deal. The framework laid out by negotiators says that during a first 6-week pause in the fighting, Hamas should release 40 of the remaining hostages, including all the women, as well as sick and elderly men. In exchange, hundreds of Palestinian prisoners would be released from Israeli prisons. However, with Hamas appearing to be unable to reach the 40, Israel has pushed for them to fill out the initial release with younger male hostages, including soldiers.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose Assembly and Supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
Charles O'Connor Consulting Limited, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
Recapping the top stories in Nationwide News at this hour. Thousands of corporate area residents continue to be affected by the health hazard, that's the smoke, coming from the latest Riverton City dump fire.
And the fire chief says the windy conditions are hampering the effort to reduce the smoke.
Deputy Mayor Delroy Williams welcomes plans to audit the KSAMC but describes the move as a distraction.
We welcome the audit. As a matter of fact, we will follow up to ensure that the audit is done. It will not be used as a distraction.
MPs and municipal corporations should be able to mobilize drought financial support for their constituents by the end of this week.
I'm Cliff Hughes.
And I'm Robianne Williams.
You can find the news on our website at nationwideradiojm.com and on the Nationwide app available on Google Play and the App Store. News next, the headlines at 6.
the Olympic Games 2024 live from Paris in France, exclusively on Nationwide 90 FM.
The Jamaican star shines bright once again.
Live here halfway through an Olympic final.
This summer, Nationwide 90 FM is coming in hot.
Jamaica to the Blacks!
Nationwide 90 FM will be blazing as we bring you the games of the 33rd Olympiad live from the French capital, Paris. 16 fantastic days of competition in 41 sports.
Lovely Williams Mills coming, the glory flapping, her arms are waving, and Lovely Williams Mills coming through for Jamaica's goal.
The station will bring you analysis and live coverage from the opening day of competition, Friday, July 26th to the very last day of action on Sunday, August 11th.
And SportsMax, let's go! Oh, what a run!
Everything and anything Paris Olympic Games 2024 can be heard right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
It is a glittering goal for Sharika Jackson, and how they will celebrate that back in Jamaica.
We'll capture the spirit of athleticism. We'll narrate the Olympic fever, define thrilling moments, and report on the blood, sweat, and tears of the world's greatest athletes. Nationwide 90 FM is going to the Paris Olympic Games, and we're taking you with us. Tune into Nationwide 90.3, 90.5, 90.7 and 90.9 for live updates and commentary. We'll be giving the listeners a front row seat to witness excitement, triumph and memories.
And I think it was a clean sweep for the Jamaicans.
Stay tuned to Nationwide 90 FM 24/7. Experience the Paris Olympic Games 2024 right here on the Revolution in Media Nationwide 90 FM, your Olympic Center. Exclusively on Nationwide 90 FM.
Sports at 5 is brought to you by Total Tools. They almost always have it.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. Global sports goods manufacturers Adidas has proposed to pump over $5.7 billion Jamaican dollars into Jamaica's track and field over the next 8 years. Nationwide Sports is in possession of a document from the German-based company outlining its plans for not only the country's athletics at all levels, but also to assist with upgrading infrastructure. Under the proposed deal, Adidas intend to make available close to $3 million or 44 million Jamaican dollars a year in cash to the J3As for 8 years. $2,180,000 in equipment will be put aside per year, with $2 million of that in general products and $50,000 per year in products for the next generation of Jamaican athletes. There's also a 10% royalty bonus per year from sales of Adidas apparel. Also in the proposal, Adidas says it will put aside a retainer for the J3As of $2.5 million or 37 million Jamaican dollars per year for 8 years. A $250,000 budget would also be made available every year for 8 years under the proposed deal to aid with repairing or upgrading infrastructure around the country. There's also to be an executive travel budget for the J3A's president, valued at $20,000 a year for 8 years. The proposal also highlights personal monetary incentives for Jamaican athletes at global games. $25,000 for any Jamaican athlete winning a gold medal at the Olympic Games, $15,000 for silver and $10,000 for bronze. For the World Championships, $15,000 will go to any Jamaican athlete winning a gold, $10,000 for silver and $8,000 for bronze, while the World Juniors and the World Relays would attract similar bonuses of $7,500 for gold, $5,000 for silver and $2,000 for bronze. The J3s are currently in a multi-year deal with another sports goods manufacturer, Puma, a deal which is set to end in November of this year. Nationwide Sports understands that the J3s is in possession of the proposed deal, though when we checked with Treasurer Ludlow Watts, he said he had not seen or heard of the document. Adidas says the proposed deal, if accepted by the J3s or if allowed to be made, would kick in 2025. Champions, the Guyana Harpy Eagles recovered from a poor start to reach 264 for 7 on day one of their 6th round West Indies Championship encounter against the Jamaica Scorpions at Sabina Park. Kemal Savory is unbeaten on 119, while Gudakesh Moti made 56. Ojay Shield has so far taken 3 wickets for the Scorpions. Meanwhile, the West Indies Academy, they reached 99 for 5 against the Windward Islands Volcanoes at the Coolidge Cricket Ground. Carlton Bowen, Tuckett 10 and Joshua James 14 are the not-out batsmen. Earlier, the Volcanoes were bowled out for 162 in their first innings, with Shamar Springer top scoring with 31. Joshua Bishop picked up 4 wickets for the Academy men. Over at the Queen's Park Oval, Barbados Pride reached 248 for 3 against the Leeward Islands Hurricanes. Craig Brathwaite is not out 117, while Zachary McCaskey, he made 101. And Trinidad and Tobago Red Force reached 374 for 4. This against combined campuses and colleges at the Sir Frank Worrell Memorial Ground. Jason Mohammed made 157. Amir Jangu is unbeaten on 151. Manchester High School is dominating the Grace Headley Cup final against last year's beaten finalist Mayday High School on the opening day of their all-Mandeville final at Manchester High. At sports time, Mayday were 76 for 7, replying to Manchester High's 219 all-out. Ryan Morris has so far taken 4 for 17. Earlier, Pajay Nelson 62, Matthew Morgan 46, and Ryan Morris 40 combined to take Manchester to 219 all-out. Chadwick Hewitt 5 for 49, and Nashane Mead 2 for 46 took most wickets. Sprint hurdler Megan Tapper is urging more corporate entities to invest in supporting and developing track and field talent in Jamaica. The multiple times national 100 meters hurdles champion says there are scores of athletes who would emerge as stars and bring additional glory to Jamaica if they got more tangible support.
I'd encourage all of corporate Jamaica to see what more can be done to support our athletes. Because believe me, there are many of my colleagues who are either doing well or have the potential to do even better, and all they need is a little push in terms of support to assist them on their journey to stardom and to be given the best opportunity possible to bring further pride and joy to our beautiful island.
And you're going to be hearing a lot more from Megan Tapper in our next sportscast at 6:05. Of course, she was a very special guest speaker at Nationwide's launch today of its exclusive radio coverage of the upcoming Olympic Games in Paris starting July 26th. That's sports. As I say, we're going to be back at 6:05 with more.
Sports at 5 was brought to you by Total Tools. They almost always have it.
Hyundai, the home of modern, premium, affordable vehicles. Call us at 876-630-1511. The time by Hyundai is
5:31.
Never before in our history has there been more roads built or under construction at the same time. The Maypen to Williamsfield Highway, the Montego Bay Perimeter Road, the South Coast Highway Improvement Project, and many more. We are built in Jamaica.
The temperature by the office of the Prime Minister is
30 degrees Celsius here in the nation's capital, Kingston. It's 28 in the western city, Montego Bay.
Welcome Deluxe, the cream cracker that rises to the top. So crisp, so light, so buttery. When you're good, you're just good. Hey, had the national flavor. You go off and buy this bag. So good, it's just so good. Welcome Deluxe, the cream cracker that rises to the top. So crisp, so light, so buttery. National Baking Company, just so good.
Do you operate a business in the manufacturing or agro-processing industry? Sagicor Bank has a loan just for you. Sagicor Bank Manufacturing and Agro-Processing Loan. Borrow up to 50 million with up to 12 years to repay. Financing you can use to retool, expand, improve efficiencies, or gear up for export. Speak with a business banker today. Sagicor Bank Manufacturing and Agro-Processing Loan. Just another way Sagicor Bank is taking care of business. Conditions apply.
Stop buying expensive print cartridges. Global Ink is now selling factory direct generic toner cartridges for use in HP and Brother LaserJet printers. Low prices. Call 754-7444 or toll free at 1-888-NEED-INK. Save money. Print with Global Ink toners.
Call me shrewd. I am getting in when the markets are attractively priced.
Call me smart. I am getting set to capitalize when the markets have increased potential. Call me savvy. I have a mix of wise investments, so I'm earning no matter the season.
They're all investing in Sagicor Investments Sigma Global Funds, like our US dollar Sigma Global Equity and Sigma Real Growth. Never settle for less than your dreams. Start investing now in Sigma Global Funds. Call 888-SAGICOR to speak with a Sagicor Investments Wealth Advisor. Conditions apply.
Good health starts with proper hydration. Hydrate your body with Hydrate. Hydrate is purified natural water from rocks 110 feet below the ground. You have never tasted water so great, yet so affordable. Yes, taste and experience it for yourself. Water at its best. Hydrate. Available also as purified alkaline water and ultra-purified distilled water. Bottled by LLNSCS Limited, a subsidiary of Max Pharmaceuticals. Call 876-983-6466.
Taboo topics, bulletins after dark,
riveting discussions,
celebrity news and interviews,
topics that are shunned by society,
and everything else in between.
Boyatings After Dark with Kareem Boyatings each and every Wednesday, 8 to 11 p.m.
Boyatings After Dark.
No topic is too taboo or hard to discuss. Come get your mind blown and your curiosity explored.
Boyatings After Dark.
Do you have a consumer-related issue? Want to learn more about matters concerning you as a consumer? Well, keep it locked to Nationwide 90 FM for the Consumer Hour with me, Nora Gay Banton. Weekdays from 9 to 10 a.m. For all your consumer-centric matters, stay tuned to the Consumer Hour on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
Public opinion.
Stop this foolish about this GLP and PMP business. We are Jamaican.
Different people.
It's not a matter of a JLP or a PMP. I think it's more like where it is that you think you're comfortable, what support you can afford to make the country better.
Different views.
Most entertainers, they're not amenable to management, so the only thing that can ultimately structure them is the court and the prison.
Public opinion. The voice of the people at 6:25 p.m. weekdays during Nationwide at 5. Tune into Nationwide at 6:25 p.m. for Public Opinion, where the people's views matter.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Good afternoon. It's 23 minutes going up to 6 o'clock. I'm Cliff Hughes.
And I'm Siobhan Campbell.
Good afternoon, Siobhan.
Good afternoon, Sir Hughes.
How are you?
I'm doing quite well.
Very well. Keep it that way. Well, in our cover story this afternoon, how many times have we done this? A fire at the Riverton City dump. Well, the Executive Director of the National Solid Waste Management Authority, Audley Gordon, is reporting that the smoke caused by the fire should be cleared within the next 4 hours. He said 8 hours about 4 hours ago. The fire, which began shortly before noon yesterday, broke out along what is seen as the borders of the disposal site. Mr. Gordon says the task proved difficult earlier today due to persistent windy conditions.
Meanwhile, Kingston Wharves Limited, KWL, has resumed operations at Newport West. The company temporarily suspended its operations for about 3 hours on Wednesday due to the smoke and poor air quality caused by the fire at Riverton. In the meantime, the newly appointed CEO of the National Environment and Planning Agency, NEPA, Leonard Francis, says a framework is being developed to better assess and prevent fires from occurring at Riverton and other hotspots across the country.
The fire at the dump is the latest in scores of fires over 2 decades in Jamaica. The NSWMA is responsible for operations at the dump. When pressed about the breaches of its environmental permit, Leonard Francis says his team has been in dialogue with the NSWMA to address the issue. And the country's Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Jacqueline Bisesa McKenzie, is advising members of the public to avoid being exposed to the smoke, which is a health hazard coming from the dump.
Due to the increase in pollutants in the air as a result of the fire at Riverton dump yesterday, persons in the surrounding communities in Kingston and St. Andrew and St. Catherine are asked to limit outside activities as much as possible. All persons should wear a mask outdoors and indoors if necessary.
That's Dr. Jacqueline Besesa McKenzie. She's the Chief Medical Officer. Well, persons experiencing shortness of breath, excessive coughing, wheezing, or tightness in the chest are being advised to seek urgent medical attention. Joining us to discuss further are the Executive Director for the National Solid Waste Management Authority, that's Mr. Audley Gordon, a pulmonologist, Dr. Tanya Foster, and we expect to be joined later by the Commissioner of the Jamaica Fire Brigade, Stuart Beckford. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to your listeners.
Well, Mr. Gordon, beginning with you, what is the latest? When are the people of the corporate area going to be rid of this public health hazard?
Well, the question is answered in a twofold way, Cliff. One, the current situation at the Riverton City is under control. We had a fire started yesterday at 12:30 thereabout p.m. And by about 5 o'clock we were able to get all the open blaze out and cut off the fire. So there was no chance of it spreading as of yesterday evening. However, the residual smoke nuisance, which always accompany fire.
That's not a nuisance, though, sir. It's a health hazard. The smoke is not a nuisance. It's a hazard, a public health hazard. Let's call it what it is.
We could use those escalated terms.
No, it's not an escalated term. It's just a simple fact. It is not a nuisance. It is a health hazard. In fact, a public health hazard. Am I not correct, Dr. Foster?
Yes, you are correct.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Gordon.
Okay, so the smoke that's causing the hazard, we had to deploy the protocols that we know best there to cover the area because there's not much else you can do but cover the area. And I hear people say that we should prevent. It's not easy to do prevention in the context of a disposal site. You will from time to time have situations where a fire will occur. But what we do is how we manage our way out of these situations. And when they happen, how do we take the necessary actions to minimize impact? Now, we have adequate amount of stockpile cover material. We have adequate use heavy-duty equipment. We have adequate trucks. We have experienced personnel on the ground. And we are continuing our work, and we have seen in terms of the smoke, because the smoke is the main problem. As the open blaze, we don't have a problem with open blaze now. But the smoke, we have seen at least 50-60% decrease in smoke since this morning. And we are continuing our work as we speak, going deep into the night.
Mr. Gordon, how many trucks do you have now you have had to deploy since yesterday to help you not only to contain the fire but to put out the health hazard that is the smoke?
We have about 15 tipper trucks
15?
that we have moving point-to-point material. Because
15
remember
you
now,
said? Hold on, 15 or 50?
I said 15.
Okay, go ahead. Yes.
Right. So we have the materials stored on the site, a stockpile on the site, as you know, Cliff, and we have to move it now to the location of the operation. So we need there's a term called point to point, and so we have to get it just. Because the quicker we get the material there, the quicker we can get it on the surface to cover the surface.
How much does it cost to deploy one of these trucks every hour?
The point-to-point rate per trip is, where is that? No, I'm not at my office. So I think it's somewhere in 3,000 or whatever. The point-to-point rate is not as expensive because it's right on the disposal site you're doing it.
So about 3,000 per hour?
Not an hour. It's per trip.
Per trip? And they would make a trip. Since, for example, given the intensity of this blaze and the breadth of it, how many trips?
several trips. I don't want to be giving you specifics on them.
Let me tell you where I'm going, Mr. Gordon. There's several trips. Yes, if I own one of those trucks at $3,000 per trip, let us say I do 10 trips for the day. Yes? It's $30,000 at a day. Yes, and you have 15 of those. You're now into virtually $500,000.
Right, but then consider the hazard that the smoke poses.
Yes, but that's not the point. Just let me finish. Let me develop the point, because this is where I'm going. We have been told over and over that these fires are deliberately set because some people eat a food when the fire is set, and you have to deploy and engage their trucks. Whose trucks are being deployed here?
All right, so what I will say to you, Cliff, maybe sometimes in the past we had those kind of situations. This fire started on the outside over cliff at the landfill. So actually, it could be a bushfire, and the wind down is very strong yesterday into today, and so it make it way into the disposal site. I don't want to go into speculation to talk about what could have happened or who may have done it.
Fair enough. So, based on the evidence you have seen so far, was this natural combustion in the fire, or was it deliberately set?
No, it wasn't on the disposal site, so I would not attribute it to combustion.
Good.
It wasn't on the disposal site. But we know from time to time that we have bushfires, and it's very dry now, is that going on. So it's not. It wouldn't be unusual to have something happening like that.
In other words, it doesn't take much to set it afire.
It doesn't really take much to set up. A disposal site is something where
No, it's not. It was not the dump itself, you said. It was outside of that.
Right.
Good. So you're saying, given the dry conditions, it doesn't take much to set it afire.
No, like you will see fire in Jacksonville, just things happen. I mean, all over Jamaica, you see there. So this is one of them. There are times when we have had instance before us. Maybe you'd have heard me on it, where we suspect that this could be, an attack and some arson or something. In this particular case, we have not seen anything that would suggest that.
All right, hold it there for me, for us, Mr. Gordon. And when we come back, we bring you in, Dr. Tanya Foster, and hopefully by then we'll get the fire chief, Commissioner Stuart Beckford.
Clearing personal, non-commercial shipments at the port? Avoid the wait. Request a contactless clearance through your agent today. It's more efficient. It's secure. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
5:47.
Call me shrewd. I am getting in when the markets are attractively priced.
Call me smart. I am getting set to capitalize when the markets have increased potential. Call me savvy. I have a mix of wise investments, so I'm earning no matter the season.
They're all investing in Sagicor Investments Sigma Global Funds, like our US dollar Sigma Global Equity and Sigma Real Growth. Never settle for less than your dreams. Start investing now in Sigma Global Funds. Call 888 Sagicor to speak with a Sagicor Investments Wealth Advisor. Conditions apply.
Do you operate a business in the manufacturing or agro-processing industry? Sagicor Bank has a loan just for you. Sagicor Bank Manufacturing and Agro-Processing Loan. Borrow up to $50 million with up to 12 years to repay. Financing you can use to retool, expand, improve efficiencies, or gear up for export. Speak with a business banker today. Sagicor Bank Manufacturing and Agro-Processing Loan. Just another way Sagicor Bank is taking care of business. Conditions apply.
Welcome back. You're listening to the cover story as we delve into this issue of the Riverton fire, which is now into its second day. We just heard from the executive director of the National Solid Waste Management Authority, Audley Gordon, who says they're currently trying to bring the smoke health hazard under control. We also have on the line pulmonologist Dr. Tanya Foster, and now we are joined by Commissioner of the Jamaica Fire Brigade, Stuart Beckford. Sir Beckford, how are things going now?
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for having me, and good afternoon to your listeners.
Good afternoon, sir.
Right. So, as we speak, I think compared to where we were this morning, we have made some progress. though slow, but steady progress. And we would have seen a reduction in the level of smoke being emitted from the landfill, and that is, that's good news for us, and I'm sure good news for the residents in and around that particular area.
So the fire is out totally, is it?
Pardon me?
Is the fire out totally?
No, I wouldn't say it's out, and it's totally, because here is what is happening at the dump now.
Mm-hmm.
So when we responded yesterday, our focus was to contain the fire, to prevent it from spreading. So the landfill is approximately 200 acres. What is burning now is probably about 4 acres, based on our assessment. And where the fire originated yesterday, there is some deep-seated burning that is taking place there. And that is what is emitting a lot of the smoke that we are seeing coming off the landfill. What we have been doing in conjunction with the crews from the NSWMA is that we are working with them. So we extinguish, they cover, because what we don't want is reignition to be taking place. And for us to make progress, to get to that inner layer, so to speak, our inner area, we have to wet, cover, and move towards it. So we're working from the periphery in to get to that area which we believe the fire originated. So there's some level of deep-seated burning taking place. You probably might not see a lot of open flames there, but there's some deep-seated burning taking place.
I know it's still early days yet, but is there an understanding, as we've been led by Mr. Gordon to understand, the fire did not start specifically on the property of the Riverton dump? Is that your assessment or the assessment of the Jamaica Fire Brigade?
Could you repeat that question for me? I got a little bit distracted there. You were saying?
Mr. Gordon has suggested that the fire did not seemingly originate from the Riverton dump, but on a peripheral property. Is that the assessment of the Jamaica Fire Brigade?
Well, we have not necessarily looked at it from that perspective. What we would have focused on, as I said, because we haven't commented on the investigation, as to how the fire started. What we were focusing, as I said yesterday, is to prevent it from spreading. When we make further progress, then we can, turn our attention to investigate where the fire would have, whether the fire started on the landfill itself, or would have been caused by some other property, burning taking place on another property. And that's not far-fetched. That's something that we see from time to time. So his crew on the ground, who were there before us, because they have people on the landfill working, for long hours each day. So they may have observed that. I have not gotten that information from my crews who are on the ground.
And
so I couldn't confirm or deny that.
And this matter of the health hazard posed by the smoke, could you give us an estimate in terms of time as to when the Jamaica Fire Brigade feels the area can be considered approximating normal?
That's a difficult question to answer, because there are some factors that are outside of our control, and we have to try and work around these. One is the prevailing weather condition in terms of the wind. That has been our biggest problem since we got there yesterday, and that is one of the reasons why we had to close our operation at 10:30 last night. When we did, we were hoping we'd have continued a little bit longer, but given what was happening and the risk posed to our firefighters, I took the decision to end our operation there. We have made progress. The JDF, they did some jobs today for us, and that would have helped. Unfortunately, they had some mechanical issues with their equipment, which they are rectifying, and they should be back there to assist us tomorrow again. We are hopeful that if the wind is accommodating to our operation, then by tomorrow midday you should see a further reduction in the smoke nuisance that is affecting the residents of Kingston, and I'm hearing maybe as far as Portmore. But I don't want to put a timeline on it, because there are factors that are not necessarily within our control and may cause the fire to continue burning longer than we would really want to.
Commissioner Beckford, we have a pulmonologist, a medical doctor. Yes, Dr. Tanya Foster. And we have been saying smoke nuisance. That's not correct. It's a health hazard for the thousands of people who have had to be inhaling this smoke for so long, over 20 years, because the NSWMA has not been doing its job. Yes? Tell me, Dr. Foster, what are the hazards that people who have had to be inhaling this over such a long period of time, and in particular last 24 hours in this instant case? What are the risks they are at?
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to your listeners as well. Okay, as it relates to the health hazard posed by the fire at the Riverton dump, when we look at the hazards, we look at, what is actually burning, which we probably wouldn't be able to identify what is actually being emitted into the air, what's the composition of it. Then we would have to look at the persons who are exposed. Do they have any underlying chronic respiratory condition? Are they asthmatic? Do they have COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease? Do they have any other chronic conditions? Even cardiac disease can be exacerbated by exposure to pollutants. We would also, so in the immediate setting, in the short term, within hours, minutes of being exposed to the smoke hazard, it would result in local irritation of the airway because, the airway, meaning the nose, the windpipe going down within the lung is open to the environment. We breathe the air in and we breathe out into the environment. So whatever is in the air around us, once we breathe in, it will get into our lungs. Depending on the composition or the constituents, it can affect different parts within the lung or the airway. The underlying problem is that it will cause irritation and inflammation within the airway. Now, of course, those persons with underlying lung disease are going to be at increased risk because they already have an underlying situation where their airway or their lung is already diseased or prone or at risk for irritation by being exposed to the hazard. So they are more likely to experience worsening or to develop respiratory symptoms such as cough, shortness of breath, chest tightness, wheezing, increased mucus production, and the need to either use more of their medication or present to an emergency room for acute care. It also increases their risk, of course, of developing respiratory tract infections. For persons who have other comorbidities, particularly the cardiovascular conditions, we know that inflammation is not confined to the lung, but the inflammation can spill over into the circulatory system and also have a negative impact on the cardiovascular system as well, increasing decompensation of their underlying cardiac disease. And so it's not confined to the lung. You can have systemic impact. So that is in the acute setting. Mm-hmm. Of course, if persons are exposed to smoke and the hazards over a long time, you can have structural changes within the lung, which then increases their chance of developing COPD, chronic obstructive lung disease. And there's some evidence, of course, that there might be risk for developing lung cancers as well. So when we think about the exposure to the hazard, it's akin to thinking about a person smoking consistently and exposing their airway and their system to this chronic inflammation and irritation that spills over into their circulation and can affect the body generally. So it's not confined to the lung.
Mm-hmm. And Dr. Foster, for people listening, mothers, caregivers, families, the most at-risk people tonight who should really try to avoid, inhaling that smoke. You did say asthmatics. Who else?
So, everybody should try and avoid being exposed to the smoke. But, of course,
that's the best advice. Every one of us. It's not good.
Everybody should try as much as possible to limit their exposure. But, of course, there are some persons within the population that are at more risk. Mm-hmm. Of course, those who have chronic lung disease or asthmatic, those with chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, those with underlying comorbidities, if they have heart disease, if they have heart failure, previous heart attack, they're just consider if you have any non-communicable disease that you're at risk for this inflammation destabilizing your system if it spills over into your circulation. So persons with chronic diseases, definitely you should reduce your exposures. Of course, you're very young, you're very old, Their immune system, the elderly, their immune system is not as robust. The young ones, their immune system is not as well developed. So they are also at risk for developing complications related to exposure. Yeah.
And Mr. Gordon, I mean, ultimately the solution is to remove the Riverton dump, and I know plans to decommission it were announced as late as 2 years ago. How far along are we?
I can't speak for the enterprise team, but I'm a member of it, but the chairman can assure you that to speak to that. But what I can say is that in terms of the Riverton City closure plan, that work has all but completed. I'm not so sure if it is finally, but I know they're significantly and we are almost complete in terms of the Riverton City closure plan. But of course, there are a lot of things that would have to be considered in that conversation. You don't just get up and move a disposal site overnight. So there's a lot of consideration. But you can speak with the enterprise team, Mr. Littleton Shirley, on that one.
But you know, Mr. Gordon, this wouldn't be overnight at all. This would be more than almost a quarter of a century. You know that?
Maybe there was a lot of talk before, Cliff, but now I know that actual work was done. They brought in consultant and they have a document that the others are almost at the completion stage. So it is maybe been talked about for quite a while, of course, but significant work has been done in the last couple of years towards that end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but we're still living with it. Thank you very much, Audley Gordon. Thank you. Mr. Fire Commissioner?
You're not going to allow me to just big up the people who work in that hazard every day?
Yes, you can. You should.
Yes.
Go ahead.
And I have to tell you, you have to be there. Stuart Beckford spoke to you earlier about the challenge with the wind and the dust.
Yes.
And so on. And they're in there right now. And
I
was there today and I'm going back there later on to give support. So it's not that it's not really nice to you're doing everything you can. Then you hear that the NFWMA is doing nothing. But we can't keep going because we serve. That's what we do.
It's not that you're doing nothing. It's that you have not fixed this problem after 25 years.
I even heard that you said that they should prosecute the
we should enforce the environmental permit.
I told them that you probably would come and bail me.
Yes, probably I would. I would. Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Foster. Thank you.
You're most welcome. Thanks for having me.
And Commissioner Beckford, thank you very much. That's a cover story. The headlines are next.
Say hello to peace of mind and goodbye to worry with Guardian Life's new Ultimate Provider Plan and secure your medical expenses in the event of critical illness today. Call 888-367-5433 for details.
The time by Guardian Life is
2 minutes after 6.
Upgrade your kitchen and bathroom to the next level with Unique Living. They're the ultimate destination for all your kitchen and bathroom needs, from luxurious shower systems to exquisite faucets, vanities, sinks, toilets, closets, and more. They have it all. Visit shop number 6, 30 Dunrobin Avenue, Kingston 10, or call them at 876-755-3661. Elevate your space with Unique Living, where quality meets expectations.
Nationwide headlines at 6.
Good evening with the headlines at 6. I'm Shalois Michael. Thousands of Jamaicans across the corporate area are still being affected by the blanket of smoke coming from the latest fire at the Riverton City dump in Western St. Andrew. The fire started on Tuesday morning. Commissioner of the Jamaica Fire Brigade, Stuart Beckford, provided an update on the efforts to put out the fire.
There is a section of the dump that is burning. We are trying to extinguish using a combination of factors. So we have 25 trucks hired by the NSWMA to carry material materials onto the site. And once these materials are tipped off by these trucks, they have a D9 truck that is using that material to cover the area that is currently on fire. And so we will wet the cover in order to prevent reignition and so on. So steady progress, but persons will continue to experience some level of smoke in the general area, and depending on the strength of the wind, it may take that smoke some distance away from the actual landfill.
Mr. Beckford says efforts to reduce the health hazard blanketing the city are being hampered by the persistent winds.
We had 3 fire units on location, plus a water tender, that's a water tanker, battling the blaze. We also got support from the Jamaica Defence Force Air Wing up until about 2:35, 2:40. When they took a break to refuel, we would have done 30 drops of water using their Bambi bucket system. The issue that we are experiencing there is due mainly to the weather condition that is prevailing there. There's a strong wind in and around that area, and the problem is that it keeps changing direction, so it makes it difficult for our firefighters to really plan and plan effectively to tackle the blaze.
Stuart Beckford, Commissioner of the Jamaica Fire Brigade. Meanwhile, Executive Director of the National Solid Waste Management Authority, NSWMA, Audley Gordon, says the smoke from the blaze at the Riverton City Dump should be contained within the next 8 hours.
At this hour, we continue to spread and compact the area affected around the outside belt of the landfill where the fire started yesterday. The good thing is the wind is blowing to the hill now, so we can attack it even more. Today, it was tough to work in the situation with the wind. We will go deep into the night, and we hope that we will see a significant reduction in the smoke by then. In terms of where we are now compared to this morning, I would say we have 50% less smoke. At this time, I believe we should be able to wrap up smoke nuisance in another 8 hours maybe.
Audley Gordon, Executive Director of the NSWMA. In the meantime, a newly appointed Chief Executive Officer of the National Environment and Planning Agency, NEPA, Leonard Francis, says a framework is being developed to better assess and prevent fires from occurring at the Riverton City Dump site and other hotspots across the country.
We are, as part of our long-term plans, looking on ways in which we can ensure that we do not have a continuous situation like this. What we have instructed the GIS unit to do is that they should now identify all the hotspots within the country. They'll be gathering data on the various type of incidents. We'll be looking on the time of day, the time of year, and the periods where these incidents actually occur. There are certain aspects that were developed. So what we are actually doing now is putting everything in what we call an interactive GIS platform that will allow us to be more predictive and proactive.
The NSWMA is responsible for operations at the location. When pressed about the breaches of the environmental permit, Mr. Francis says his team has been in dialogue with them to address the issue.
If tomorrow we do serve them a notice and suspend the permit or otherwise, what do you think would happen? All of us, every day, we are generating waste. So the reality, the waste has to go somewhere. And we will be working with the National Solid Waste Management Authority to separate waste, encourage recycling, and that's where we are going. We have the blueprint. There are several plans that are there. One of it is actually looking on converting some aspects of the area and looking on waste-to-energy proposals there, actually reducing the size of the landfill itself, and there are various other programs in terms of enforcement.
Leonard Francis, CEO of NEPA. Minister with responsibility for water, Senator Matthew Samuda, says members of parliament and municipal corporations should be able to mobilize drought support for their constituents by the end of this week. This comes after Prime Minister Andrew Holness announced that an additional $150 million would be allocated towards drought mitigation efforts.
I expect that we will write to members of parliament today outlining how bills are to be submitted. That would allow them to mobilize, I'd expect, as early as tomorrow. As it relates to transfers to the municipalities, we will write to them today, and I would expect that before the end of the week they're in the field.
Minister Samuda says meetings are to be held with the country's Drought Management Committee as early as this week.
There is $450 million for trucking at the National Water Commission. There is in excess of $100 million, I believe it is 102 or something like that at Ministry of Local Government. There is also, as is published in the big yellow budget book, a contingency budget at the Ministry of Finance for emergencies and eventualities such as this. So we are prepared to deal with it. We also continue to coordinate with other government agencies. I expect to bring the Drought Management Committee together for weekly meetings starting this week as we go forward and monitor the situation.
Senator Matthew Samuda, Minister with responsibility for water. Those were the headlines at 6. I'm Shalois Michael. Sports is next.
Importers. Shipments requiring you to pay customs duties and taxes are cleared on a customs goods declaration known as an IM4 or IMS4. Ask your clearing agent to provide your customs declaration, customs assessment notice, and customs receipt once duties and taxes are paid. Where your clearing agent may not be able to provide the IM4 or IMS4, request your customs goods declaration registration number or C number, which can be used to verify your payments. Importers, request your IM4, IMS4, or C number. It is your right. For details, email the Jamaica Customs Agency at public.relations@jca.gov.jm. Jamaica Customs, keeping our customers in focus.
Call me shrewd. I am getting in when the markets are attractively priced.
Call me smart. I am getting set to capitalize when the markets have increased potential. Call me savvy. I have a mix of wise investments, so I'm earning no matter the season.
They're all investing in Sagicor Investments Sigma Global Funds, like our US dollar Sigma Global Equity and Sigma Real Growth. Never settle for less than your dreams. Start investing now in Sigma Global Funds. Call 888 Sagicor to speak with a Sagicor Investments Wealth Advisor. Conditions apply.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. Global sports goods manufacturers Adidas has proposed to pump over 5.7 billion Jamaican dollars into Jamaica's track and field over the next 8 years. Nationwide Sports is in possession of a document from the German-based company outlining its plans for not only the country's athletics at all levels, but also to assist with upgrading infrastructure. Under the proposed deal, Adidas intends to make available close to US $3 million or 44 million Jamaican dollars a year in cash to the J3As for 8 years. $2,180,000 US dollars in equipment will be put aside per year, with $2 million of that in general products and $50,000 per year in products for the next generation of Jamaican athletes. There's also a 10% royalty bonus per year from sales of Adidas apparel. Also in the proposal, Adidas says it will put aside a retainer for the J3As of $2.5 million US dollars or 37 million Jamaican dollars per year for 8 years. A $250,000 US dollar budget would also be made available every year for 8 years under the proposed deal to aid with repairing or upgrading infrastructure around the country. There's also to be an executive travel budget for the J3As president, valued at $20,000 per year for 8 years. The proposal also highlights personal monetary incentive for Jamaican athletes at global games. $25,000 US dollars for any athlete winning a gold medal at the Olympic Games, $15,000 for silver and $10,000 for bronze. For the World Championships, $15,000 US for a gold medal, $10,000 for silver and $8,000 for bronze, while the World Juniors and the World Relays would attract similar bonuses of $7,500 for a gold medal, $5,000 for silver and $2,000 for bronze. The J3As are currently in a multi-year deal with another sports goods manufacturer, Puma, a deal which is set to end in November of this year. Nationwide Sports understands that the J3As is in possession of the proposed deal, though when we checked with Treasurer Ludlow Watts, he said he hadn't heard or seen anything of the document. Adidas says the proposed deal, if accepted by the J3As, would kick in 2025. Sprint hurdler Megan Tapper is urging more corporate entities to invest in supporting and developing track and field talent in Jamaica. The multiple times national 100 meters hurdles champion says there are scores of athletes who would emerge as stars and bring additional glory to the country if they got more tangible support.
I'd encourage all of corporate Jamaica to see what more can be done to support our athletes.
Because believe me, there are many of my colleagues who are either doing well or have the potential to do even better, and all they need is a little push in terms of support to assist them on their journey to stardom and to be given the best opportunity possible to bring further pride and joy to our beautiful island.
Tapper is the first Caribbean woman to win a medal at the Marquee Olympic Games. Tapper, who was recently announced as a sandals brand ambassador, says it's always an honor to represent Jamaica on the big stage.
For me personally, the honor will be even that much more this year because I will be beginning my campaign to make the team to Paris while representing Puma and my beloved Shoe Shake, but also one of our country's most powerful and iconic brands across the globe. I will be doing so as a Sandals brand ambassador. I want to commend the team at Sandals, True Shake, and Puma for their genuine support for track and field and sports in general.
Megan Tapper was a guest speaker at Nationwide's launch today of its exclusive radio coverage of the upcoming Olympic Games in Paris. Head coach of Racers Track Club Glenn Mills had mixed reactions to World Athletics' decision to reward gold medalists with a cash prize at the Paris Olympic Games. Athletics International Federation announced on Wednesday that it would be the first sport to offer prize monies in the history of the Games, with winners in the 48 disciplines to each receive US $50,000. World Athletics President Lord Sebastian Coe said World Athletics Chief Executive John Ridgedon had given the IOC the heads up about the announcement on Wednesday morning, but confirmed the initiative had not been discussed with the IOC in advance. Mills says this is a good first step in the showing appreciation to the athletes.
This is something that I have been speaking about for years, that the Olympics, the idea of the amateurism in a meet that makes billions of dollars at the expense of the performance of the athlete, that it was so unjust and unfair to the athlete because the Olympics is being conducted under the whole adage of amateurism. This is a bold step in breaking the shackles of what has been happening in the past.
Lord Coe says he hopes the IOC would share in this principle, given their avowed commitment to ensure that revenues raised through the Olympic movement find their way back into the front line. The IOC redistributes 90% of all its income, in particular to the National Olympic Committees and international federations. A total prize pot of US $2.4 million has been ring-fenced by World Athletics of Paris, with the federation committed to introducing prize monies for silver and bronze medalists from the Los Angeles Olympic Games in 2028 onwards. Mills says the move by World Athletics is not far-reaching enough.
While I commend the World Athletics and what they have done, awarding the winners alone doesn't go far enough. All finalists should have been included, something similar to what they do in the World Championship. So I'm not happy with that aspect of one standard for the World Athletics and only the winners in the Olympics. But I applaud the move as a first step, and I sincerely hope that this is the beginning of a new deal for professionalism in track and field.
Glenn Mills. Champions Guyana Harpy Eagles recovered from a poor start to reach 278 for 7 at Stumps on day one of their 6th-round West Indies Championship encounter against the Jamaica Scorpions at Sabina Park. Kemal Savory is unbeaten on 127, while Gouda Keshmoti made 56. O.J. Shield has so far taken 3 wickets for the Jamaica Scorpions team. Well, Manchester High School, they're dominating the Grace Headley Cup final against last year's beaten finalists Mayday High on the opening day of their all-Mandeville final at Manchester High School. At close on day one, Mayday were 118 for 9, and they're applying to Manchester High's 219 all-out. Carlton Brown has been at the ground all day, and he's been watching the action, and he gives up a roundup of today's play. Hey, Carlton. You're on. Go ahead. Give us a roundup of today.
Okay. Yes, good afternoon. I don't know, give me a second, let me move from where I am. Okay?
We're holding for Carlton Brown. He's from Cricket Forum. He's down there at Manchester High School. He's supposed to be giving us a roundup of today's first day of the Grace Headley Cup, as you heard him say. He's in a noisy area. He's just going to be moving away a bit to quickly give us a roundup. Carlton, go right ahead with it.
Elected to bat, and they made 219 all out. Right, top scorer for them was Tajay Nelson. He made 67, followed by Matthew Morgan, who made 46, and Reverend Morgan, who made 40. Bowling for Mayday, we have Chadwick Hewitt taking 5 for 49 from 17.2 overs. Nashane Mead, 2 for 46 from 15 overs. And Christopher Lewis, 2 for 48 from 14 overs. Ryan Edwards, 1 for 61 from 12 overs. So Manchester all out for 219. In reply, Mayday are 118 for 9. That's 118 for 9. Still trailing by 101. And so far, the top scorer for Mayday, Chadwick Hewitt, he made 55. The only other scorers in double figures was David Williams, who made 10, and Daniel McClymont, who made 12. Bowling for Manchester, we have Harriet, that's Rashid Harriet, taking 2 for 25 from 5 overs, and Reverend Morgan, who made 40, he took 4 for 17 of 9 overs with 5 maidens. And then we have Matthew Morgan, 10 overs, 1 maiden, 43 runs, 2 wickets, and the Barrington Simpson, 2 overs, 3 runs, 1 wicket. So at the close of play, Mayday High School, in reply to Manchester 219, they are 118 for 9. Play continues tomorrow at 10 a.m. I remind you that it's 2 innings that. So Mayday trailing by 101 with 1 wicket in hand at the end of the first day of the Sedley Cup finals here at Manchester High School. That's the DK Insurance Headley Cup played at Manchester High School, scheduled for 3 days, and we return you now to the studio.
Thank you so much, Mr. Carlton Brown from Cricket Forum there, and we're going to be joining you again tomorrow for more live updates from Manchester High School. That's sports.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
6:21.
Does your bra ride up your back? Do your shoulders hurt from carrying the weight of your breasts? These are signs of an ill-fitting bra. When was the last time you were fitted by a bra fit specialist? The bra experts at LaBelle Femme will take care of you. Drop into the store at 53 Lady Musgrave Road, Tuesdays to Saturdays from 10 to 5, and you will see the difference. Or call 876-622-6091.
The Olympic Games 2024 live from Paris in France, exclusively on Nationwide 90 FM.
The Jamaican star shines bright once again. Live here halfway through the Olympic finals.
This summer, Nationwide 90 FM is coming in hot.
Jamaica to the blacks!
Nationwide 90 FM will be blazing as we bring you the games of the 33rd Olympiad live from the French capital, Paris. 16 fantastic days of competition in 41 sports.
Nobly Williams-Mills coming, McCrory flapping, her arms are waving, and Nobly Williams-Mills coming through for Jamaica's gold.
The station will bring you analysis and live coverage from the opening day of competition, Friday, July 26th to the very last day of action on Sunday, August 11th.
And SportsMax, let's go! Oh, what a run!
Everything and anything Paris Olympic Games 2024 can be heard right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
It is a glittering gold for Sharika Jackson, and how they will celebrate that back in Jamaica.
We'll capture the spirit of athleticism. We'll narrate the Olympic fever, define thrilling moments, and report on the blood, sweat, and tears of the world's greatest athletes. Nationwide 90 FM is going to the Paris Olympic Games, and we're taking you with us. Tune into Nationwide 90.3, 90.5, 90.7, and 90.9 for live updates and commentary. We'll be giving the listeners a front row seat to witness excitement, triumph, and memories.
And I think it was a clean sweep for the Jamaicans.
Stay tuned to Nationwide 90 FM 24/7. Experience the Paris Olympic Games 2024 right here on the Revolution in Media Nationwide 90 FM, your Olympic Center. Exclusively on Nationwide 90 FM.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Good evening, and welcome to Public Opinion. I'm Roby Ann Williams. A special one to our friends on our YouTube platform. Thank you for always tuning in. We invite you to weigh in live in the comments section on today's Public Opinion. It's midweek. Yep, by the time you look the week done, don't it? Now, the government is allocating an additional $150 million towards drought mitigation efforts. Prime Minister Andrew Holness made the announcement in the House of Representatives on Tuesday.
To the farmers and rural communities on the front line of this crisis, I give my unwavering commitment to stand by your side and provide the assistance you need to survive and indeed recover and thrive from this drought. That is why the government is implementing a range of measures to support our farmers during these challenging times. This includes the emergency funding, which we will put in place in the amount of $150 million for the trucking of water and procurement and distribution of a limited amount of water tanks. And let me just explain that, Mr. Speaker, we will make an emergency allocation of 150 million Jamaican dollars.
Indeed, the program will target the 50 constituencies assessed as most heavily affected. And we heard from the minister with responsibility for water, Senator Matthew Samuda, who says that members of parliament and municipal corporations should be able to mobilize drought support for their constituents by the end of this week. We've also heard of schools, closing their doors due to no water. So, in Public Opinion today, we're asking, have you been affected by the ongoing drought? And how are you coping? I'll start with the comments on our Facebook platform real quick. Philip Jackson says, give God the glory in the good times, praise his name, and in the bad times, so the same in everything. It could be worse. That's what you're saying, Philip Jackson is saying that it could be worse. Fabian Smith says, no. He's not being affected by the drought conditions. Michael Henry is saying the excessive heat is getting to me, but I know the rain will come soon. And let me talk about the heat. It plays hot body, no man. Oh boy, Ricardo Portier says Jamaica will get lots and lots of rain down more in the year. Yeah, but during this, it's drought. We're experiencing a drought, and many, including the farmers, are affected. Some of us, we may not feel as though we're affected, but best believe when you go to the markets, we have already heard to brace for higher food prices amid this drought. We've heard about the vegetables and Irish potatoes to be impacted in particular. We are going to be affected one way or another. Let me see. Shawnee Reynolds says they're getting rain in St. Andrew. Yes. Natalie Winter says, everything and everywhere dry, even your pockets. Don't get me started on that one. Even the pockets, have mercy. We need urgent help around here. I think that one is hilarious. On our X platform, Listen, Mr. Ralph says, I think nature parks in every parish, with each parish specializing in particular fruits, would really help our atmosphere to produce the rain we need. Okay. Los Noches says, this drought is wicked. The heat is killing me and I don't even have an AC, and the fan is working overtime. Listen, it's not even summer as yet. Not even summer, and the time hot. The conditions are terrible. Let me see if I can get in some of the comments on our Instagram platform here to the question, have you been affected by the ongoing drought, and how are you coping? Chrissy saying not affected yet. A river flows by my house. And that nice? That is nice to have a river flowing by your house. Batchcam is saying no water and my crops them are dead. Even the flowers, even need the flowers in your backyard or in, them I feel it. Them I feel it. Time hot, man. The time is hot. No water. Can you imagine that? Schools being closed due to the fact that there is no water. Paul Parrott is agreeing with me, saying that the place hot. Yeah, man, the place hot for true. Place hot. Bailey is saying 150 million for drought areas by JLP government. Yes, indeed. That's what the Prime Minister is saying. Of the constituencies, let me see, 50 constituencies assessed as most heavily affected will be a part of the program. The program, which he announced in the House of Representatives, $150 million towards drought mitigation efforts. As part of his update regarding the ongoing drought, Mr. Holness says no parish has been spared, but the west of the island has been particularly affected. And when we think of drought conditions, we often think about the farmers, you know, because they do so much in the fields. They do so much in the fields, and to have, you know, a drought just come and everything dry up, you know, we can definitely, as consumers, brace for higher food prices when you go to market. So things say it not affect you, know, but in long run short catch, it go affect we. Let me see if I can get to the comments on our YouTube. Martin Clark says we lack long-term planning as a country. Where is the plan to build new dams to store more water? We also need to ensure that we keep more green spaces. We shouldn't be putting up buildings everywhere. Let me see. I think I've heard of plans as it relates to new dams. If I'm not mistaken, we can definitely check that out, Martin Clark. But you're saying we lack long-term planning as a country as it relates to building out new dams and for us to store more water. That's what you're saying. Okay. Well, during this time, we encourage you to use less water, you know, if you can. Remember the farmers, they need the water, and people have to be trucking the water. Yellow River says to supplement, let me see, 80. Oh, you're saying, I don't understand you. Who done it? I don't understand the comment you're making. Award-winning water project. Oh, you're saying, thank God Mr. Siaga did the award-winning water project from the Yellow River to supplement the corporate area. Philip Jackson is saying, stay hydrated. Yeah, man, the time hot. You got to stay hydrated indeed. Thank you guys so much for participating. Marlene P says it's a welcome news from the Prime Minister. Putting $150 million towards drought mitigation efforts. It's sad. You know, but sometimes you get the rain and you don't want the rain. Sometimes you get the drought conditions. I don't think we want drought. But thank you guys so much for participating. All the best for the remainder of today. But do stay tuned for the business report. That's up next.
Public Opinion was brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Annual eye examinations not only assess your vision but may be life-saving. Eye tests may detect serious health issues that go beyond your vision. Call IQ Optical to schedule your comprehensive eye test today.
The temperature by IQ Optical is
30 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 28 out west in Montego Bay. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Nationwide's Business Report. I'm Robianne Williams. Motorists should see an increase at the pumps in the price of gasoline. That's effective Thursday, April 11, tomorrow. That's according to the latest ex-refinery costs from the state-owned oil refinery Petrojam. Now, 90 octane will see an increase of $2.57 per liter, while 87 octane will increase by $2.40 per liter. Automotive diesel fuel will increase by $2.63 per liter, and ultra-low sulfur diesel will go up by $2.63 per liter. Kerosene increased by $4.50 per liter. Meanwhile, propane liquid petroleum will go up by 25 cents per liter, and butane liquid petroleum will increase by $1.46 per liter. Further afield, consumer prices in the U.S. rose faster than expected last month in a sign that the fight to slow inflation has stalled.
Prices rose 3.5% over the 12 months to March, up from 3.2% in February. That's according to the U.S. Labor Department. Now, higher costs for fuel, housing, dining out, and clothing drove the increase. Analysts warned the lack of progress will force the U.S. Central Bank to keep interest rates higher for longer. And finally, the currency markets at the close of trading today, it cost 155 Jamaican dollars and 69 cents to buy $1 US, 195 Jamaican dollars and 89 cents to buy £1 British pound, and 114 Jamaican dollars and 62 cents to buy the Canadian dollar. That's the business report. I'm Robianne Williams. Good evening.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
The Leaders Conference of Choice is back on site at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel and online. Register now for Middle Managers Leadership Conference. Call 876-978-60012 or visit www.makeyourmarkgroup.com. Sponsored by Make Your Mark Group, Caledonia Outdoor Advertising, Jamaica Pegasus Hotel, JPS, Intelligent Multimedia Limited, Monographic Printers, Main Event Entertainment Group, Nationwide News Network, and Visual Tech Solutions. Middle Managers Conference, May 1 to 2, 2024. Sign up at www.makeyourmarkgroup.com.
Call me shrewd. I am getting in when the markets are attractively priced.
Call me smart. I am getting set to capitalize when the markets have increased potential. Call me savvy. I have a mix of wise investments, so I'm earning no matter the season.
They're all investing in Sagicor Investments Sigma Global Funds, like our US dollar Sigma Global Equity and Sigma Real Growth. Never settle for less than your dreams. Start investing now in Sigma Global Funds. Call 888-SAGICOR to speak with a Sagicor Investments Wealth Advisor. Conditions apply.
As a parent, you give your children a good start in life. You nurture, protect, and guide them. Parenting is a process that prepares your child for independence. As your child grows and develops, there are many things you can do to help your child. Stay tuned to The Big Show, nationwide this morning, for parenting tips. Fridays at 6:53 a.m. Only here will you learn everything you need to know about parenting. Tips to help parents navigate the incredibly challenging and rewarding journey of child rearing. Parenting tips on Nationwide at 90 FM, the revolution in media.
If it's in the public's interest, it's the nation's business during Nationwide at 5. The nation's business.
The Olympic Games 2024 live from Paris in France, exclusively on Nationwide 90 FM.
The Jamaican star shines bright once again.
Live here halfway through an Olympic finals.
This summer, Nationwide 90 FM is coming in hot.
Jamaica to the Blacks!
Nationwide 90 FM will be blazing as we bring you the games of the 33rd Olympiad live from the French capital, Paris. 16 fantastic days of competition in 41 sports.
Nobly Williams-Mills coming, the Brody flapping, her arms are waving, and Nobly Williams-Mills coming through for Jamaica's goal.
The station will bring you analysis and live coverage from the opening day of competition, Friday, July 26th to the very last day of action on Sunday, August 11th.
And Sportsman, let's go! Oh, what a run!
Everything and anything Paris Olympic Games 2024 can be heard right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
It is a glittering goal for Sharika Jackson, and how they will celebrate that back in Jamaica.
We'll capture the spirit of athleticism. We'll narrate the Olympic fever, define thrilling moments, and report on the blood, sweat, and tears of the world's greatest athletes. Nationwide 90 FM is going to the Paris Olympic Games, and we're taking you with us.
Tune into Nationwide 90.3, 90.5, 90.7, and 90.9 for live updates and commentary. We'll be giving the listeners a front row seat to witness excitement, triumph, and memories.
And I think it was a clean sweep for the Jamaicans.
Stay tuned to Nationwide 90 FM 24/7. Experience the Paris Olympic Games 2024 right here on the Revolution in Media Nationwide 90 FM, your Olympic Center. Exclusively on Nationwide 90 FM.
Minutes going up to 7 o'clock. Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide 90 FM, your Paris Olympic Center in Jamaica. Good evening, good evening, Siobhan.
Good evening, sir.
I almost called you George. Well, we will be bringing you exclusive radio coverage for the 2024 Paris Olympic Games this summer. The games will be live right here on radio, the only radio entity that the Olympics will be carried between July 26 and August 11.
To mark the event, there was a media launch held today at Usain Bolt's Tracks and Records in St. Andrew. For those who missed it, we'll be playing that launch for you.
Thank you for joining us for what is the start of a unique journey in Jamaican media. I want to say a special welcome to the Olympic star among us, Miss Megan Tapper. She will go to Paris, defending her bronze medal from Tokyo, where she'll be looking to upgrade. And Megan, I really hope that you win the $50,000 US, Yeah, man. The IOC announced, the World Athletics announced today that gold medalists at the Paris Olympics will be paid $50,000 US, breaking with tradition. Since the modern Olympics began in 1896, Olympic winners earn nothing for their exploits. But that changes now, and not a moment too soon. So welcome, Megan. I want to welcome the president of the Olympic Association, the attorney at law, Christopher Samuda. Good to see you, sir. I want to welcome two members from the government benches in the upper house of Parliament, the Senate, Cavan Gale. You've grown taller since I last saw you, Cavan. You need to share the secret with me. And Abka Fitzenley, my friend and brother. Good to see you, sir. And I want to welcome representatives of each of the companies who've committed with us so far for this Olympic journey, and those who are here on the fringe, who are looking to come fully into the fold. I want to welcome, as he enters the building, the CEO of SportsMax, Nicholas Matthews. SportsMax, our collaborators. We negotiated well with them, and we got the rights for the Olympics. I want to thank him. And of course, the Chief Operations Officer at SportsMax, Newton Robertson, who's also in the building. And of course, our CEO, Cliff Hughes, who's in the background. Cliff doesn't do well in the background. He does best in the limelight, and he'll be here shortly. And also to thank all the members of the Nationwide team who've contributed to this event, who are contributing to the bigger event, which is the coverage of the Olympics and the success that we hope to reap at the end. I want to say that Nationwide has become so much more than a radio station. And as I was discussing with Cliff earlier, we have a brand, we have a particular reputation for strong journalism, and that will become apparent everywhere. I want to say that what we're doing is historic. It might seem simple, it is historic. Never before in the history of Jamaica's acceptance of Olympics coverage has a radio station ever gone at it alone. It would have been the easy thing to say, okay, let's take a piece of it, let's take 1/5, and you have 5 stations carrying the same thing. But we were ambitious, and we believe in our brand, and we believe that we can offer the right value proposition to our potential advertisers to get them to become partners, and that we can walk together on this Olympic journey and give it the right treatment. So again, I welcome you all, and I make way now for greetings from the JOA boss, Chris Sabuda.
Thank you very much, my brother and my friend. Olympian, Megan Tapper, Secretary General and Chief Executive Officer of the Jamaica Olympic Association, Ryan Foster, CEO, who loves to be in the background, Cliff, members of the Nationwide family, members of the Nationwide management team, members of the media, and I see some track and field persons in the audience, and I extend to them a very hearty welcome. In greeting you, I say faster, higher, stronger, and together. That's the spirit, my friends, that drives the Olympic movement to celebrate the progress of humanity in sport. Faster, higher, stronger, together. That's the soul that defines Olympic dreams, which impel us to make brotherhood and sisterhood a unified reality in sport. I greet you by saying faster, higher, stronger, and together, because that's the will, the determination that embodies Olympic thoughts to become a universal creed, a universal sporting theology. The ideals, my friends, of Olympism and the language of life in the Olympic movement will this summer gain expression in Paris. And the Jamaica Olympic Association, the JOA, will be one of its principal advocates and proponents as we join our colleagues in the Olympic movement in messaging a global citizenry, not by TikTok, WhatsApp, text, Instagram, or Facebook, but by conscience and consciousness of the values in sport and the value of sport. Paris will once again become the melting pot, a Dutch pot of sporting cultures. And the Jamaica Olympic Association will be in the vanguard, Cliff, in internationalizing Jamaica's Olympic culture in volcanic eruptions in Paris. One on August 6, Independence Day, and one on August 7, the Jamaica Olympic Association Day. As we partner with our colleagues and partner with our partner, Puma International, in glorious celebrations in one yard, our Olympic manor and their Puma House. The yard will be indeed the epicenter of friendship, camaraderie, unity, and global comity. As the JOA embraces the hope, the aspiration, the inspiration, the pride of our sportsmen and sportswomen, the dreams of the world's athletes in Paris, known fashionably for its eclecticism. Faster, I greet you. Higher, stronger, and together is not only for the JOA an Olympic mandate, it is for us a way of life, the character of our being, and the DNA of our thoughts, words, and deeds. So Foster and I are bound for Paris. Bound for Paris with more than a sense of history, that once more, history will be created. Bound, Megan, to write another chapter of the bestseller, not of body, but of humanity, the greatness of the human spirit in motion. I greet you well and thank you.
Thank you, Sir Chris. I didn't introduce myself at the start. So my name is George Davis. I'm the Deputy Executive Editor at Nationwide, and I'll be working on the Olympics as well. I want to say that yesterday I prepared a document for one of our potential partners who is in Barbados and who expressed the need to our BDE to be given more information about Jamaica's relationship with track and field. I found that a bit curious because I'm saying, well, everybody knows Jamaica's prowess where track and field is concerned. But while I looked over the important numbers, from which I would take some and give to her because she couldn't get everything because it would be a lot, I realized our standing where athletics is concerned and the success that we've had over time. And I ask my audience, the track and field experts, coaches at the back, Michael Carr, TC, you're not permitted to answer. Wayne is not permitted to answer. Chris Ryan not prepared to answer. Jamaica has won 88 medals at the Olympics, 87 in track and field. Which one has been a non-track and field medal? Not you, because you hear me. Yeah, not you. Yeah. Go again. Discuss? No. Cycling? All right. Which year? Stop telling man the answer. David Weller. All right. All right. So Cliff, since you're so bright, what was David Weller? What profession was he? You can all collaborate on this one. David Weller was what? Tell him, Chris. David Weller was what? David was a welder? No. David was a pilot, remember? Yeah, David was a pilot. So David in 1980, the Moscow Games, the 1 kilometer time trial, he won bronze. It wasn't, well, 1980 games were subject to the boycott because of the Soviet Union, but nonetheless, the competition was still very strong, and he won bronze. So of the 88 medals we've won at the Olympics, 87 track and field, and the one outside, David has it in his pocket, the bronze in cycling. All right? Speaking of bronze, she says that she's going to upgrade. Yeah? No pressure. Megan Tapper, the floor is yours, miss.
Thank you, George. I don't know what it is, but for some reason this experience has me a little nervous, but bear with me. Maybe it's because it's about the Olympics. And the last time I performed there, I was super duper nervous. I don't know if any of you have heard the story, but on the way to the track for my final, I was so nervous I was crying. Had to call my friends to calm down. But yes, I'm here and I'm excited to be here. Mr. Christopher Samuda, President of the Jamaica Olympic Association, Mr. Cliff Hughes, CD, CEO of Nationwide, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and a special hello to the Team Revolution Nationwide News Network. Good afternoon. It is my pleasure to be here today, representing athletes, Jamaican athletes, vying to make the team for the 2024 Paris Olympics. Did you know that Jamaica first participated at the Olympic Games in 1948, and that we have sent athletes every single Summer Olympic Games since then? From that, we have won a total of 87 medals, 26 gold, 30 silver, and 25 bronze. I mean, come on, Jamaica. I know I speak for my colleagues when I say it is always a deep honor to don the black, green, and gold and represent our beloved island, whether in Jamaica or on the world stage. We recognize that each time we represent our country at an Olympic Games, we have the opportunity to build on the legacy of the great Arthur Wint, who in 1948 was our first medalist at the Marquee Games. We appreciate that we have a chance to consolidate the hard work of the great Merlene Ottey. Side note, my mom was going to name me Merlene. No, I think Megan does a little better. Who was the first female Olympic medalist from an English-speaking Caribbean island. We are passionate about building on the legacy of Jamaican greats such as Herb McKinley, George Roden, Carmen Smith, Una Morris, and Dion Hemmings. For me personally, the honor will be even that much more this year because I will be beginning my campaign to make the team to Paris. Side note, I have not made the team as yet, guys. I have to compete at the national trials at the end of June, where I'm sure you all will be there supporting your athletes, right? Yes. Looking forward to seeing you. So yes, I have to make top 3 there, and then I will be on my way to the Olympic Games, where I will be working very hard when I will be beginning my campaign to make the team to Paris while representing Puma and my beloved shoe shake, but also one of our country's most powerful and iconic brands across the globe. I will be doing so as a Sandals brand ambassador. I want to commend the team at Sandals, True Shake, and Puma for their genuine support for track and field and sport in general. Additionally, I'd encourage all of corporate Jamaica to see what more can be done to support our athletes. Because believe me, there are many of my colleagues who are either doing well or have the potential to do even better, and all they need is a little push in terms of support to assist them on their journey to stardom and to be given the best opportunity possible to bring further pride and joy to our beautiful island while representing and holding our flag high on the global stage. The Paris Olympics symbolizes more than just athletic prowess. It embodies the unity of nations, the triumph of the human will, and the pursuit of excellence. So to my fellow competitors, I say this. Let us not forget the power of this Olympic season. We have the extraordinary ability to inspire, to uplift, and to ignite the flames of passion in the hearts of millions around the world. And it is with this profound sense of purpose that we should take to the starting line, ready to give everything we have, leaving nothing behind. Let us make history together. Let us push the boundaries of what is possible, and let us show the world what it means to continue to strive for greatness. To Nationwide, covering this momentous event, I extend my deepest gratitude. Your commitment to showcasing the beauty and power of sport is commendable. To Jamaica, supporting us as athletes is crucial, not just during the Olympic Games, but especially preceding the Games. Behind every medal-winning performance lies hours, days, months, years of relentless training, sacrifice, and determination. By supporting our athletes throughout the journey, we not only uplift their spirits, but we also provide them with the encouragement and, most importantly, the resources they need to excel. Your backing during the background season helps cultivate the talent that eventually graces the Olympic stage, showcasing Jamaica's prowess in running, jumping, and throwing. Together, let's rally behind our athletes, celebrating their achievements and uplifting and motivating them to reach even greater heights, especially Jamaicans, especially when they don't do as well as we expect them to. As your support shouldn't just be about cheering during the games, it's about being there every step of the way, fostering an environment where dreams are realized and champions are made. Finally, I've experienced the Olympics at the Olympic Games and in Jamaica, and I can tell you there's absolutely nothing that compares to the Jamaican Olympic atmosphere. Nothing. It is, when I went to Rio, I was like, okay, I'm ready for the excitement, I'm ready for the action. Nothing. Crickets. I was like, wow, I wish I was at home. Because at home, you're with your family, you're experiencing the excitement and the love and just the sheer joy of seeing Jamaicans compete on the track and do well. But mark my words, this is attributed to how seriously the Jamaican media takes their role to transmit, and in Jamaica's case, create excitement for Jamaicans. I am putting my trust in Nationwide to continue facilitating this rich experience. After all, the team at NNN is known as the revolution in media. Together, athletes, media, and the viewers, let us write this next chapter in the annals of Olympic history in both excitement and performance. Paris, here we come. You're welcome.
Thank you, Meg. And I'm very happy you spoke there about the support for athletes when things aren't going so well, because my colleague at SportsMax for 7 years, the great Lance Whitaker, he and I have had many discussions where we are saying that we don't appreciate the attitude that some Jamaicans, some have when athletes don't medal or when an athlete wins a bronze. So Lance always asks the question, them know when people have to wake up 4 o'clock in the morning and train and vomit every day, and the sacrifices and the injuries and everything. So how can you see someone even making a final? You make a final, it means you're one of the 8 best in the world if it's a track event. So how can anybody then criticize whatever it is that you get at the end when either you line up, either you pray to your God, you go into the preparation, and then the result is what it is. Yeah, who are you to criticize and say that someone has fallen short? And you know, the difficulty is, well, the challenge for us is to not let those Jamaicans who are in the minority sour the experience, yeah, because largely Jamaicans are very supportive of their athletes, and the athletes feed off this support. The minister in charge of sport was said to be here, but she's engaged in St. Catherine, you understand, at this time. She's tasked Mrs. Suzette Eisen, Principal Director, Sport Policy Development and Monitoring Branch, to bring greetings on her behalf. Mrs. Eisen.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Mr. George Davis, Master of Ceremonies, Mr. Christopher Samuda, President of the GOA, Ryan Foster, CEO, Senators Cavan Gale and Akbar Fitz-Henley, Olympian Megan Tapper, CEO of SportsMax, Nicholas Matthews, Cliff Hughes, CEO Nationwide News Network, sponsors, members of the Nationwide and SportsMax family, sports enthusiasts, other members of the media, specially invited guests, good afternoon again. Please allow me to apologize on behalf of Minister, who would have wanted to be here, but she's otherwise engaged. And now, allow me to read her prepared remarks. Sport and media have been intricately linked for several centuries. The Olympic and Paralympic Games have held a special place in the hearts of sport enthusiasts and media personnel alike. There are very few other things that foster unity, national pride, and a sense of belonging like sport. Media and communication play a major role in shaping the way in which sport is viewed generally, and more specifically, the attitudes of the consuming public who oftentimes may not be able to experience the games in person. This afternoon, I am pleased to be here with you, and she's not, to commend this partnership between Nationwide News Network and SportsMax. This combination of sharp and incisive reporting and the home of the premier sporting content, the home of champions, is a match made in sport heaven. The fact that both media houses engage their audiences across multiple platforms provides a listening, viewing, streaming, scrolling, clicking public with multiple ways to engage and access the content, ultimately allowing the games to be more exciting. I would like to congratulate the Nationwide News Network and SportsMax on this partnership to provide Olympic coverage. I also take this opportunity to remind you of the responsibility you have as media to provide objective coverage, especially regarding the controversial or sensitive issues that may arise, as how you present the events, organizers, athletes, and their support personnel will impact public perception of the games. As Minister with responsibility for both sport and gender, I'm very aware that women only get about 4% of sport media coverage, and only 12% of sports news is presented by women. I challenge you to change the narrative. I will also encourage you to tell the stories of less popular sports and athletes so they too can benefit from the media exposure. you have a unique opportunity to impact the culture of sport journalism, and I look forward to the sport and entertainment value that will emanate from this partnership. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Eisen. May I invite the SportsMax CEO, Nicholas Matthews, to bring greetings?
All right, thank you, George, and welcome everybody. Thanks for coming. This partnership, we're really excited about this partnership with Nationwide. George mentioned earlier, this is an unprecedented event because this is probably the first time a single radio station will be carrying the Olympics here in Jamaica. It's a phenomenal partnership, and Nationwide is known for excellence, and we're expecting that they will continue that tradition of excellence with the Olympics, the Paris Olympics for 2024. We're really excited about the partnership, and we're looking forward to ensuring everyone everywhere gets access to the Olympic content from Paris, and you'll be able to enjoy it on the Nationwide platform. They are the single and only radio station in Jamaica that will be carrying this event. So tune in, get locked in, and enjoy Paris 2024. Thank you.
Good. I hope you take lessons from Mr. Matthews, Mr. Hughes. He was at the office for 2 hours extra last night practicing his speech. Let's hear the speech that you practiced. Come.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I want to welcome you all to a very special occasion, and in particular to our guest speaker, Megan. You did brilliantly well. That was a gold medal winning performance. Thank you. And I'm sure you will take it with you and emulate it in the city of love, Paris, in July. Good. To our sponsors, advertisers, thank you so much for being here with us. This is indeed, as George has said, a historic moment for Nationwide 90 FM. It's also historic for radio broadcasting in Jamaica. It's the first time a radio station is being given the privilege, the honor, the responsibility, the duty to deliver first-class coverage of the Olympics on radio in Jamaica. It was usually the preserve of the television stations. Now we're going to go one better. Yes, radio is mobile. Television is static. For the advertisers, it has its advantages, but radio, even more advantages. Yeah, wherever you are, yes, and it's the time for the race, you'll hear it on Nationwide 90 FM. You know, it's been 128 years since 1896 when the modern Olympic Games began, right? And in those years, we're having the Olympics in Paris at a time when the world is going through a very difficult period. Yes, a difficult period. The Olympics will be held in the city of love, Paris. But not far from Paris, the people of the Ukraine are going to be at war. The people of Russia are at war. We must not forget what's happening in the Middle East. The people of Gaza, the Palestinian people, the Israelis. We are at a very difficult time in human history. And I do hope that Paris will somehow bring all of us together as humanity. This is one of the deliverables of sports, bring people together. And I really do hope that Paris will have that effect come July, come the summer. It is going to be a hot summer, yeah, a very hot summer, but it's going to be a very good summer, a summer of love and unity in the world. And we are happy that Nationwide, yeah, will run the Jamaican leg of Olympic coverage here in our little neck of the woods. To the sponsors again, thank you very much. For those who are still considering, come on board. Yes, to the team at Nationwide, the team of athletes, the Olympic Association, we're going to make Jamaica proud. Yes, it's a moment that we can rise again to the occasion as Wint, Roden, Leng did. Yes, in 1948 and 1952. Yes, we have the Megan Tappers. It's their time. Yeah, and who knows who else will emerge in Paris in 2024. Thank you so much for coming.
All right, we started at 1:15. It is 1:47. We're making very good progress. We should be here for not more than 10 minutes more, if so long. I want to say part of the speech you forgot, sir. Yeah, this is my talk to you this morning. Anyway, I told him to say that he kind of said it, the dynamism of radio and the nimbleness of it. Nobody can think of Nationwide as a radio station anymore because people don't listen to Nationwide, they watch Nationwide. Yeah, and we have we have a reputation for the coverage of politics and hard news that is second to nobody. We get a lot of hate, we get a lot of criticism, but look, them sit down for our name every day, but nobody does that to a non-entity. As they say, nobody, you never see children pelting green mangoes. Even the Indians who bring them one go curry it. Yeah? People don't curse things that aren't good. And we have a strong reputation where current affairs and politics are concerned and covering hard news. We do it better than everybody else. And what is true, we've been able to do that because we know what good journalism is. And covering an event like the Olympics demands good journalism. You need people with a breadth and wealth of experience to infuse into what you're seeing, because you all know that 10.5 for a male athlete over 100 meters is not a good time. You know that 10.9 for a woman in the first run of the 100 is good. She's opening up the throttle. You know these things. You need a deeper level of analysis. You need journalism to keep you hooked, to make you interested. That's what Nationwide does so very well. So have no fear. It's not parliamentary matters. It's not election matters. It's not matters concerning the economy or the macroeconomy or the microeconomy. It's not matters such as those which we excel in day by day. But rest assured, the same journalistic brush that we use to paint the hard news coverage, it's the same one that we're going to apply to the coverage of the Olympics. My pledge to the advertisers today is that, the promise, is that we will suffuse the Olympic coverage with quality that you are used to from Nationwide in our traditionally strong areas. We could have, as I said, just taken a piece of the Olympics and did a lot of other things and did this piecemeal. But we said, no, we should go for the whole hog. And I hate quoting him, but he happened on a word that when we heard him say it, we didn't think it was a real word because we know he makes up words, Donald Trump. But he said, he's going to do it bigly. And I think it's a good way to say what Nationwide is going to do. We're going to do it bigly, yeah? And I laughed to myself and I said, ha ha ha, here's he again, making up a word. When I checked it, it was a real word. I was shocked. So bigly is actually a real word, listeners, ladies and gentlemen. I say listeners because we're streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, and viewers as well. I say that because I want to reinforce what we intend to do with the coverage of these games. All right, we are ready for the important part, the signing. So may I ask Cliff and Nick to make their way to this table. May I ask the photographers to get a good position, and the videographers and the photographers. And then when they're finished signing, I will ask Megan to lend us her time because there are some photo opportunities we want her to be a part of. With our sponsors, of course, and of course with the officials here. So, Joe, you want to organize it? Yeah, Joe needs to organize the, yeah. So nationwide 90 FM, SportsMax through IMC, collaborating with the coverage of the Olympics, and Nicholas Matthews, SportsMax's CEO, Cliff Hughes, Nationwide CEO, signing the official agreement. There we go. Cliff, then say if you sign again, you're too quick. Fast start. Yeah? There we have it. There we have it. Yeah. Can you hold the agreement up for the camera, please, Nick? All right, so that's the official. Yeah, that's it. That's it. All right. Can you turn? Just turn to the, yeah, there you go.
All right. So that was how it evolved, unfolded this afternoon inside Tracks and Records. And we want to say thanks to the people at Tracks and Records, the staff. Yes. We deliberately chose Tracks and Records, as you can imagine.
Of course. There could be no other place.
Yes.
So July 26 to August 11, listeners, Nationwide 90 FM, that's the place to be for your Olympic
Wherever
coverage.
you are, yes, during the Olympics, you can be assured you will hear it on Nationwide as the events unfold. And we're going to begin now to tell you how we're going to go about this, because what we've been able to secure, yes, remember now, there are several sporting events in the Olympics.
Yes.
And we're going to be carrying coverage of all of them, because we're going to be getting a 24/7 feed, audio feed, of all things Olympics based on or exclusive rights to the Olympics. So we finish at 8 o'clock. Yes, you may have missed something during the day. You can tap into the feed and you will get the very latest. Yes, Paris is 7 hours ahead of here in
about
Jamaica.
there, yes.
7 hours, so you can bear that in mind. But the big races, the big events are going to be happening like about 1 p.m., 2 p.m. Jamaica time, when the entire country will come to a halt. Yes, and we are quietly expecting that this could be one of our best summer Olympics, because Jamaicans, as you're aware, Siobhan, we now dominate and figure prominently, not only in track
Precisely.
events.
We've actually expanded quite well into the field events as well.
The jumps, the hurdling, yeah, the throwing, yeah. So there is a lot to salivate about. That Paris could be another big year for us.
But the 100 meters is still the highlight, no matter.
Yes, the 100 meters, the men's and women's, and we should figure prominently, certainly, in the women's 100 meters. For the men's, it's going to be more difficult, yes, to medal, but we will be there giving the Americans competition.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, and for the advertisers, yes, you can call us. Yes, we have an advertising package tailor-made for you. Yes, don't feel that it's the Olympics. No, yeah, we will give each one, yeah, a piece of the Olympic pie. Yeah, don't worry about your budget. Just give us a call.
So you heard it there, listeners, viewers, and advertisers listening as well.
Yes,
we are open for business.
We are, and has been for quite a while. All right, this is Nationwide at 5.
The Olympic Games 2024 live from Paris in France, exclusively on Nationwide 90 FM.
The Jamaican star shines bright once again.
Live here halfway through in Olympic finals.
This summer, Nationwide 90 FM is coming in hot.
Jamaica to the blacks!
Nationwide 90 FM will be blazing as we bring you the games of the 33rd Olympiad live from the French capital, Paris. 16 fantastic days of competition in 41 sports.
Noblin Williams-Mills coming, McCrory flapping, her arms are waving, and Noblin Williams-Mills coming through for Jamaica's goal.
The station will bring you analysis and live coverage from the opening day of competition, Friday, July 26th to the very last day of action on Sunday, August 11th.
And SportsMax, let's go! Oh, what a run!
Everything and anything Paris Olympic Games 2024 can be heard right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
It is a glittering goal for Sharika Jackson, and how they will celebrate that back in Jamaica.
We'll capture the spirit of athleticism. We'll narrate the Olympic fever, define thrilling moments, and report on the blood, sweat, and tears of the world's greatest athletes. Nationwide 90 FM is going to the Paris Olympic Games, and we're taking you with us. Tune into Nationwide 90.3, 90.5, 90.7, and 90.9 for live updates and commentary. We'll be giving the listeners a front row seat to witness excitement, triumph, and memories.
And I think it was a clean sweep for the Jamaicans.
Stay tuned to Nationwide 90 FM 24/7. Experience the Paris Olympic Games 2024 right here on the Revolution in Media Nationwide 90 FM, your Olympic Center. Exclusively on Nationwide 90 FM.
20 minutes after 7 o'clock. Thank you so much for staying with us on Nationwide 90 FM, your Paris Olympic Center. I'm Cliff Hughes.
And I'm Siobhan Campbell.
You hear the new tagline.
Yes, sir. We have to sell it.
Yes. Well, the National Quality Awards NQA program is celebrating its 20th anniversary this year. The NQA stands as Jamaica's pioneering quality systems-based accolade. It aims to acknowledge and incentivize local companies that exemplify standards and implementation of quality systems across both goods production and service delivery.
The NQA cycle commenced with applications opening on January 2, 2024, culminating in an award ceremony and banquet slated for October. Companies showcasing excellence in meeting program criteria across organizational focus, customer focus, human resources, process management, and business results will receive the esteemed NQA trophy during the banquet. To tell us more about the NQA program, we are being joined by Senior Standards Development Officer for the Bureau of Standards Jamaica, BSJ, Shane Slater. Good evening, Sir Slater.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Good. So tell us a little bit more about these NQA awards.
All right. So as you pointed out, this is indeed our 20th anniversary, and we are very proud of this milestone because the National Quality Awards program is Jamaica's first quality systems-based awards program. And the purpose of this program is to recognize and reward local companies that demonstrate the application of standards and quality systems in both the production of goods and the delivery of services. So we began in 2004 when the BSJ, through the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, launched this program as a national medium to celebrate business excellence and to highlight and promote the competitiveness of Jamaican products and services. So we currently operate on a biennial cycle, which culminates in our prestigious ceremony and banquet, which will be held on the 16th of October this year, and it will be part of our World Standards Day celebration.
So what type of businesses can enter and how do they apply?
So a wide range of entities can enter. We have 4 categories: the manufacturing sector, the service sector, so this could be things like financial services, hospitality, real estate. We have the agricultural sector, which can be primary producers, small farms, large farms, and of course the small business sector. So in order to apply, you would need to meet certain eligibility requirements. So you must possess a valid tax compliance certificate. You should be registered with the Companies Office of Jamaica, registered with the Bureau of Standards Jamaica if applicable. And if you're in the agricultural sector, you should be registered with the with RADA, the Rural Agricultural Development Authority. And in addition to this, we would require you to have your procedures documented. So it could be your standard operating procedures, it could be a quality manual, a policy manual, or just your general best practices documented. So when you meet all these eligibility criteria, then you're able to complete and submit your application form to the BSJ. And our deadline is the 30th of April to 2024.
And is this open to past award winners?
Yes, in fact, there are several companies that have been repeat winners, for example, Nestle, Sherwin-Williams, and we actually encourage winners to re-enter because, we're all about celebrating companies that continue to set that standard for quality and business excellence in Jamaica.
Mm-hmm. The past winners, can they re-enter for 2024?
Yes, absolutely. They are encouraged to re-enter because, again, we're really about celebrating these companies that continue to set that standard for quality and excellence.
Good.
And some of the benefits, I mean, a lot of businesses would want to know what would flow to them in terms of a benefit for applying and winning this award.
Yes. So first of all, participation in the program is absolutely free. And I must highlight that the audits that are provided under the program are equivalent to a typical management system audit. And these can be valued at around $1,600 USD per audit day. So we're really giving a valuable audit. And in addition to the audit, you get a certificate of participation, and you get a comprehensive audit report, which you can then use to identify areas where you can improve and make your company better. And we've also found that participating in the program can help to boost staff morale because the entire process is so collaborative as you prepare for the audit. And of course, in addition, they get to enjoy the award ceremony banquet, which is a wonderful night of food and entertainment, which will be held on October 16th. And of course, during the ceremony, we'll present awards to our winners in the categories of manufacturing, service, agriculture, and the small business sector. And I should add that the winner in the small business sector category will also benefit from being included in our mentorship program, which is where we identify a larger company to assist this company, this winner, to further grow and develop their systems. And at the end of it, we promote all our winners, all our awardees. So as you can see, it's really a value-added initiative. So we encourage all companies to apply.
You mentioned small business. So what are the other categories of awards that are handed out?
So we have the National Quality Award for Excellence in Manufacturing. We have the Award for Excellence in Service, as well as the National Quality Award for Excellence in Agriculture. So those are the four categories in addition to the three in addition to the small business sector.
Mm-hmm. And so Shane, how can interested business make contact or arrange for applying, for the NQA?
Right, so the deadline to submit your applications is the 30th of April, 2024. And for additional information, you can contact Cecilia Johnson Rowe at 876-303-0821 or via email at crowe, that's CROWE, at bsj.org.jm. And you may also visit us at our website at www.bsj.org.jm or any of our social media channels. So Facebook and LinkedIn, you would look for Bureau of Standards Jamaica. And on Instagram and Twitter, we're at Standards JA.
Okay. So repeat for us, for businesses, you may want to think about this. It could be a winner for you, could drive your business, and of course, all about improving standards and quality. Shane, why should they get involved again before we go?
So again, you're getting an audit that is of high value. We have professional auditors in our program. And, these audits are, if you were to get this audit outside of the program, it would be $1,600 USD per audit day, and we're giving that to you absolutely free. And this audit report is something that you can use in the future to improve your company. And if you are successful in the program, you could also be a winner, and you would be celebrated by the BSJ and promoted by the BSJ, which would then, position you as a very high-achieving company that believes in quality and excellence.
Good. All right. Thank you very much, Shane Slater, Senior Standards and Development Officer, the Bureau of Standards, Jamaica. Thank you so much, sir, and all the best.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. Time for the break.
And after the break, we'll be taking your calls. The numbers are 630-9371-4 and 618-8255.
Welcome deluxe, the cream cracker that rises to the top. So crisp, so light, so buttery. When you're good, you're just good. Hey, had the national flavor. You go want to buy this pack. So good, it's just so good. Welcome deluxe, the cream cracker that rises to the top. So crisp, so light, so buttery. National Baking Company, just so good.
Hello?
Nadine?
Yeah?
Me just pick up one Maxfield Easterbun up by supermarket phone.
One Maxfield bun nah go do.
Nadine, that is all I could afford.
Uncle Pat, Daddy, and Jeffrey only eat bun back. And bun only come with front back and back. So where next back I go come from?
If you want more Maxfield Easterbun, go up at the supermarket or check maxfieldbakery.com.
Yeah, for gonna send credit for put on service then.
Come on from my phone. Sure. Maxfield Easterbun, tweet to the max.
The Watchman. Exploring issues shaping our society, government, and business. Provocative, unconventional. Dr. Henley Morgan is The Watchman.
Good evening. Teacher migration and the nation's future. Two little black birds sitting on a wall, one named Peter, one named Paul. Fly away, Peter. Fly away, Paul. Come back, Peter. Come back, Paul. That harmless schoolyard game people of my age used to play in primary school has become a deadly scenario for the country's entire education system. The blackbirds are teachers who, like migratory birds, succumb to the recruiter's lure and fly away to foreign in pursuit of better climes. The teacher migration contagion is spreading like wildfire through the education sector. The front page headlines of local newspapers tell the story. For its Thursday, August 31, 2023 front page headline, the Daily Observer used the words indecent haste to characterize the dilemma. The same newspaper, in its Saturday, April 6, 2024 edition, used these chilling words. British classrooms calling. UK offering $2 million relocation package plus other incentives to Jamaican teachers. The April 6, 2024 Observer front page headline article quoted a story of a few days earlier from the British newspaper The Guardian. It said inter alia, and I quote, Jamaica alone supplied 486 teachers last year, twice as many as in 2022, as schools in England launched recruiting drives in a country with a population of 2.8 million and suffering its own chronic shortage of qualified teachers. End of quote. Lack of a livable wage has been identified as the main causative factor of rampant teacher migration. This was the dominant and recurring theme in speeches given by the 6 president-elect candidates on the final day of the just concluded Jamaica Teachers Association, JTA, 60th annual conference. Delivering the keynote address at the JTA's 59th annual conference 1 year earlier, Frederick Ingram, Secretary General of the American Federation of Teachers, while supporting our teachers in their quest for better remuneration, waved a red flag. This in part is what he said. I quote him, "In the midst of a teaching shortage, find your purpose in this beautiful country in the schools of your homeland. Sometimes I have to remind people that everything is not greener on the other side." End of quote. One can only hope that, like the 2 little blackbirds in the nursery rhyme, the migrating teachers, having experienced the truth in the warning by the head of the American Federation of Teachers, will come back home, if not soon, at retirement, to contribute their enhanced knowledge toward building a better Jamaica. Think on these things.
Produced by Agency for Inner City Renewal, AIR, and recorded in the Jamming Studio Trenchtown, a breath of fresh air bringing change to the inner city.
Taboo topics, bulletins after dark,
Riveting discussions,
celebrity news and interviews,
topics that are shunned by society,
and everything else in between. Boyatings After Dark with Kareem Boyatings, each and every Wednesday, 8 to 11 p.m. Boyatings After Dark. No topic is too taboo or hard to discuss. Come get your mind blown and your curiosity explored. Boyatings After Dark.
We're about to take a quick break, but again, we're taking your calls. The numbers to call are 630-937-124 and 618-8255. Come chat with us.
Hi there. Here's some good news for these trying times. Quote, "By God's word, I can see where I'm going. They throw a beam of light on my dark path." Unquote. Psalm 119, verse 105. Listen for God's word weekdays at 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. through
Oasis. Stop by for a refreshing drink and share a God perspective for the day.
Oasis, weekdays 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. right here on Nationwide, a revolution in media.
The rebroadcast of the Oasis can be heard weekdays at 5:45 a.m.
The Oasis is brought to you by Solar Tech Jamaica. We use the gift of the sun to power our world.
The Olympic Games 2024 live from Paris in France, exclusively on Nationwide 90 FM.
The Jamaican star shines bright once again.
Live here halfway tree in Olympic finals.
This summer, Nationwide 90 FM is coming in hot.
Jamaica to the blacks!
Nationwide 90 FM will be blazing as we bring you the games of the 33rd Olympiad live from the French capital, Paris. 16 fantastic days of competition in 41 sports.
Noblin Williams-Mills coming, the Brody flapping, her arms are waving, and Noblin Williams-Mills coming through for Jamaica's goal.
The station will bring you analysis and live coverage from the opening day of competition, Friday, July 26th to the very last day of action on Sunday, August 11th.
And SportsMax, let's go! Oh, what a run!
Everything and anything Paris Olympic Games 2024 can be heard right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
It is a glittering goal for Sharika Jackson, and how they will celebrate that back in Jamaica.
We'll capture the spirit of athleticism. We'll narrate the Olympic fever, define thrilling moments, and report on the blood, sweat, and tears of the world's greatest athletes. Nationwide 90 FM is going to the Paris Olympic Games, and we're taking you with us. Tune into Nationwide 90.3, 90.5, 90.7, and 90.9 for live updates and commentary. We'll be giving the listeners a front row seat to witness excitement, triumph, and memories.
And I think it was a clean sweep for the Jamaicans.
Stay tuned to Nationwide 90 FM 24/7. Experience the Paris Olympic Games 2024 right here on the Revolution in Media Nationwide 90 FM, your Olympic Center. Exclusively on Nationwide 90 FM.
I'm Dennis Brooks.
I'm Alan Campbell.
I'm Floyd Green.
And I'm Garth Williams. Catch us on the Jamaican Dads podcast right here on Nationwide 90 FM, Thursdays at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m.
The Jamaican Dads podcast is all about providing men with a healthy, safe, and functional forum to tackle many of the taboo topics that concern our masculinity.
Like everyone else out there, we're dads of varying amounts of experience who come from different backgrounds and often view the world differently.
We're definitely not perfect, but we're all brethren and we're all committed to this piece of rock called Jamaica.
Too often, there are no safe spaces for men to explore the issues which are important to us.
Plus, most of the content out there about parenthood is produced by women, for women. So we think it is important that we be the change we want to see.
Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Jamaican Dads with a Z.
And definitely join us here on Nationwide 90 FM every Thursday at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m. for the Jamaican Dads podcast. It's a revolution in media.
Tune in to Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Stay ahead of the curve with our cutting-edge reporting and accurate breaking news coverage.
We are having an earthquake. Oh, God.
Hear it here first on Nationwide 90 FM.
Is that really Cliff you stalking?
Tune in, turn up the volume, and listen. We bring a mix of news, entertainment, and sports to your lives.
Nationwide 90 FM's live and continuous coverage of the World Championships in Budapest, Hungary.
News and discussions week mornings.
Coming up in the news at 6 for this morning.
Entertainment in the afternoons, then news again in the evenings.
Nationwide news at this hour, fired.
Also tune into the entertainment and sports shows in the nights and on the weekends.
It is Boy Things After Dark right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
Everything is news, from current affairs and entertainment to sports, business, and other categories.
Nationwide 90 FM. This is Beanie Man. Give it to them. Zaga, Zen.
From every whisper to every commotion.
That's rubbish. The KSAMC cannot investigate itself.
Was Click News really talking like that?
Every news story unfolds here first at Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Every sound is a story, and every story we share is news.
Public opinion.
Stop this foolish about this GLP and PMP business. We are Jamaican.
Different people.
It's not a matter of a JLP or a PMP. I think it's more like where it is that you think you're comfortable, what support you can afford to make the country better.
Different views.
Most entertainers, they're not amenable to management, so the only thing that can ultimately structure them is the court and the prison.
Public opinion. The voice of the people at 6:25 p.m. weekdays during Nationwide at 5. Tune into Nationwide at 6:25 p.m. for Public Opinion, where the people's views matter.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
18 minutes going up to 8 o'clock. We're going to take your calls now for the remaining 18 minutes of the program. You know the numbers to call us, 876-630-937124. That's 876-630-937124 or 876-618-8255. I'm Cliff Hughes.
And I'm Siobhan Campbell.
So, Siobhan, how is it going? Let's talk. Yeah?
Doing quite well. But did you know there was a drought?
Yes.
Did you feel it? Have you been feeling the drought?
Yes, I've been living it. I've been seeing it. Where, I like my plants.
Yes.
Right? And it pains me to see what's happening with my plants and my lawn. Yeah? Every time I come out, go home and you walk and you see the grass and, and the flowers are, the place is parched brown. Yeah? I have an app that tells me whenever it's going to rain, and every morning one of the things I do as a ritual is to go online and look, is it going to rain today? You're willing the rain to come. Yeah?
And what I found strange that I didn't even realize we exited the last drought.
Oh, yes, we did.
But the time frame between exiting the last drought and entering another drought was so short that it felt as if it was just a continual...
No. We got a fair amount of rain in October, November last year. And even up to December, we got some rain. January wasn't too bad, but then it has just not been coming since.
And we're not quite fully into summer yet, which is the most unnerving aspect of this.
It's going to be a long, hot, dry summer. Long, hot, and dry. Yeah. And I'm not looking forward to that at all. Yeah.
While I was in Guyana, there were two things that houses absolutely needed. They needed to be built on stilts, and they needed to have a backup generator because the electricity in Guyana was very shoddy. So it was almost a requirement that you have a backup generator. So I'm wondering, now in Jamaica, we're heading into a period of time where it seems it's now a necessity to have a tank.
Oh, yes. It is.
And that's quite frightening.
It is a necessity. Yeah, wherever you are in Jamaica. Yeah. There was a time in Jamaica when, as I say, you could put your pot on fire because it was going to rain in May, June, and then tapers off in July and August, and it would come back in September, October, November, parts of December, even up to the end of December. Now, you can't be too sure of that at all because of climate change. Yeah. Cleveland is on the line. Good evening, Cleveland.
Good evening, Mr. Hughes.
Good evening.
And Siobhan.
Evening, Cleveland.
Congratulations, Mr. Hughes. You've gone up in a big league now again.
Big league.
Yes, man. We're launching the Olympic.
Yes,
For the great time we'll have in August.
Right, July, August. It begins the 26th of July.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. And,
congratulations, sir.
Yes, it's going to be a wonderful summer.
Yes.
And we're inviting all our businesses, advertisers, service providers to come on board and be part of the summer Olympics. Yes?
Can't keep a good man down or cure them try.
My friend, you know it.
And that's it.
Yes.
Sometimes, as Mr. A long time, I call radio station and I know some of my people that will call, and very people that will call and trying to be friendly with you now. Was that the same one them used to chat against you,
Oh, yes.
Other places.
Yeah, man. Me know them.
Just like one lady, she's not so young again, record from Rallington Town. I hear up to the other night. And I noticed they don't like when you to listen to other people, They're going as if you're not to have a say.
No.
You who support JLP, no have a say at all on radio. Them one must cover everywhere. Yes. Anyhow, do I notice that the World Bank have we at a 2% growth rate outlook, eh?
Yeah, about 2 to 3%. That's what we're saying.
That is great.
That
great
came out
news,
today?
But we out here
No,
don't
that's the projection for a while, though.
It's not great news for us in a sense because it's so political.
Why is it not great news for us? If we grow 2-3%, everybody is going to be part of that growth.
No, them are going to tell the little people now to go feel that.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. That's as usual. I was just watching the news here, and I noticed that the KCC, the new mayor farmer committee, he's the chairperson, and guess who is the deputy? Miss Joan Gardner Webley.
She's not a
Can
member
you
of the
imagine
council.
that?
But she's not a member of the council.
Eh?
She's not a member of the council. How can she be a member of the committee?
Well, him have a committee farm there, and she's chairman to him.
That's a committee of
Some
councillors?
committee. I'm not sure what is it, but some committee there that.
A committee of the municipal corporation?
Yes, that Mr. Williams is one. Then what that for? Because then them leaving out the councillors, them were supposed to be on the committee.
Yeah, that's why.
Outsiders.
But Mrs. Webley is not a member of the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal
I don't know.
Corporation.
You will find out as you go along because I don't know. But you know what surprised me though about it? You remember the days then when Miss John Gardner was the manager for the solid waste thing?
The National Solid Waste Management Authority, yes.
And you remember one time they had a fire there and she was there, and how the same people them do her head, give her hell. You think should I in a prison today?
Oh my God! When you live long enough, you know, Cleveland, you see many things.
Yes,
including things that you thought you would never live to see.
Yes, that's true.
Yes,
that's true. I understanding that now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Anyhow, sir, make somebody else get.
All right, sir. Good. 11 minutes going up to 8 o'clock. So, I'm going to trouble you now, Chevron.
Of course.
United States politics.
Oh, dear. Your hobby horse.
No, I follow politics in Jamaica all over the world.
Very well.
Yes? And in the U.S., it's getting closer and closer to November.
Yes.
And the race is beginning to tighten. And that ruling by the Arizona State Supreme Court yesterday, virtually reverting to
a 128-year-old law on abortion.
Virtually banning abortion, except in circumstances where the life of the
mother is at risk, yes.
Yes. That happened in 2024.
And I found it interesting that the attorney's top prosecutor said, we are not prosecuting anybody under this law.
Yes, the Attorney General, saying she, not under her watch, which in and of itself is remarkable because she is the Attorney General.
Yeah, that's quite a position. But one can be, let's be fair, it's a very draconian law.
Extremely draconian. And you have to wonder, will it make a difference come November? Because it has been making a difference in a number of red states.
Yes, this matter of abortion, not only in the red states, quite a few blue states have also come under pressure regarding this matter of abortion rights and access to abortion as a human right.
Mm-hmm.
So it is shaping up that immigration and the economy, which always factors, is becoming the three topics that is shaping the upcoming elections and the war in Israel, between Israel and and Hamas.
Right. So immigration at the border.
Yes.
Abortion.
Yes.
The economy.
Yes.
And the war in the Middle East.
Yes.
Those are shaping up to be the top
those seem to be the election topics going into November.
Yes. I was watching one of the networks this morning. I think it was Morning Joe, and they did a study. They polled undecided voters in several swing states, and the overwhelming majority of them agreed. In fact, all of them agreed in the sample in the room that they believe Trump's economic policies would work better for them. Yes? To a man and woman, they said Trump's economic policies are good for them. Yeah? But then when they drilled further down and asked them...
what was that policy?
They couldn't say. But here, when they were asked, okay, you are now in November, and you have a choice between Trump and Biden. Who would you vote for? They were saying... boy, they stopped and they all landed, but they just can't deal with Trump. too chaotic.
Precisely.
Too divisive.
Precisely.
Too unpredictable. And I'm saying, that's the point I've been making for all along. Yeah? Now, when American voters get to the polls, they will have two names, Trump or Biden.
And it feels like people don't quite understand this. It's, well, he's leading in the polls, and he was the front runner in his party. But there's one thing about winning a nomination process, a selection process, where a base is important. It's another thing to win a general election as the President of the United States when you have to attract more to your cause than just your base.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You win a primary among the base. To win a general election, you have to expand that to the independents.
And to give the Democrats credit, they're very good at building coalitions.
Such as the Biden coalition.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And I just don't see any coalition forming around Trump. He's just too divisive.
Too divisive. And frankly, uncouth. Yeah? Very uncouth. Yeah.
But I think there's some voters who can look past
that, and are prepared to look past that. Yeah. But I don't know. It is a topsy-turvy world, you know. I see now the Speaker of the House
is again on the chopping block. And this has only been a few months after the last Speaker vacated the chair.
And that speaks to the chaos that is Trump's Republican Party. It is not the Republican Party that we grew up with. It's Trump's Republican Party. And that's their middle name, chaos.
I don't know if there is a rallying cause that the Republicans can get behind at this moment. It feels as if they're operating in their own silos on different issues, on different matters, and they're incapable of finding a singular issue upon which to rally everyone around. You'd think it would be immigration, but Trump torpedoed that.
Torpedoed it, that's the word. He said, don't fix it, because let it stay there and fester, yeah, so that I can beat Biden with it. So the most conservative senator fashioned, a deal. Biden says, okay, we'll take it. We'll have to swallow our spit and take it. And Trump tell him, no, don't do it. Which speaks to what I've always said about him, Siobhan. This man has no core. He has no character. It's not about public policy making. It's about what benefits Trump.
And you have to come to that realization. I mean, I consider myself to a level, you consider certain aspects of a human being, you expect a certain level of selfishness. But when it comes down to the wire, you hope that someone will accede to a higher purpose.
Mm-hmm.
You've sat in the chair of the President of the United States. You'd assume the office itself would at least bring you to the understanding that there is more to the job than satisfying your own ego.
Yes.
And it seems Mr. Trump is incapable
of that.
Rising to that level.
Yeah. And there's a little Jamaican phrase that says, show me your company and I tell you who you are. His former financial advisor was sentenced to 5 months in jail today.
And any one of his former allies that aren't in jail no longer support him.
Including his former vice president. Yeah. I can't see how he will win come November. I can't see it. Anyway, yeah. That's how we're going to leave it. Thank you so much to our producer, Dana Davey, our technical operator, Andrew Anderson, and of course to the members of the news and production team, and to all of those who came out this afternoon to the launch of our Olympics coverage, Paris 2024. Yes, we invite you
looking forward to this summer.
Oh yes, we're looking forward to a summer of love. I'm Cliff Hughes.
And I'm Siobhan Campbell.
Reminding you, take care of your loved one and look out for your neighbor. Good night.
I stay locked to the Olympics because, of course, I'm Jamaican. What you mean?
Me, I have to tune into the Olympics, man. Because I'm always busy, but what? I have to know when Sherika Jackson beat Shakari.
Brother, I have to have every notification for the Olympics. I want to hear every run.
Now Sherika Jackson coming
every jump.
Oh, that is absolutely huge of Wayne Pinkham.
And every fling live.
So, take us then.
Nothing can miss me.
We're always on the move.
So while we're driving, run, Elaine, run.
Jogging. Yes. Run, Watson, win again.
Watson is now a world champion.
Or even at work.
Quick, the race has started.
We can't miss a beat because we keep it locked
to the only station
for the Paris Olympics.
Nationwide.
90
FM.
Nationwide 90.1, 90.3, 90.5, 90.7 and 90.9, and on YouTube at Nationwide 90 FM Live. Nationwide, the new revolution in media.
Taboo topics, bulletins after dusk,
riveting discussions,
celebrity news and interviews,
topics that are shunned by society,
and everything else in between.
Boyatings After Dark with Kareem Boyatings each and every Wednesday, 8 to 11 p.m.
Boyatings After Dark.